There he is. I know. I'm back. Back to kill you on Friday the 13th. No, you're safe. This is a safe zone for you guys. And, well, it's Friday. I missed you guys. I wasn't able to do a Friday night for the first time since we started doing all this. And did you miss me? I hope you did. I'll tell you, I was in Burbank working on the new Stephen Pearcy voice of Ratt. That's my radio voice, by the way. But the new Stephen Pearcy record's finally going down. And I've been going up there. You guys got an update from me about a month ago. I went up and laid down some of my tunes that we're going to be doing. Steven plays guitar and writes songs, and he has like a handful of pretty awesome songs himself that he's had, and he's gone into Matt's and laid him down there. So Friday I went up and put my schmutz on it. You know what I mean? I kind of learned what he was doing and just did some rhythm tracks on his stuff. It sounds great. One of the songs, Drive, was super cool. I even did some backup vocals on it. But I always have such a fun time up at Matt's, and that took the sting out of not being able to do an Unleashed with you guys. But let me jump in here and say hello to my peeps this week. First on deck tonight, Dale Groot. He's ready, folks. Well, we're glad you are ready, and we're glad you're back. Spicoli, we're going to the moon, dude. I don't know. I'm going to give you some Spicolis.
That, dude. Hey, bud. Let's party.
And you're going to get one final Spicoli.
What are you people? On dope?
We ain't going to the moon, dude. The only thing that you're going to be getting is some fancy CGI cartoon, and you're never going to see anybody stepping down off a lunar module or anything like that, because if they did, they'd have to make it look as shitty as they did 50 plus years ago. And that's not really an option for them. But I know you're just joking around, and it's okay.
Sexy times.
Let me get back over here. Dale Groot, what else do you have to say to me? 2 minutes to hang out. You only have 2 minutes? Are you leaving in 2 minutes? I hope not. Spicoli, we are live, son. Fired up. Yeah, whatever you guys do. Make yourselves comfortable. You're in my my living room tonight. I just bought a new condo with my Fright Bite money in Manhattan. And as you can see, I have a beautiful view. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, this week was the Fright Bite. Did you guys happen to catch that? I feel like every time I put a Fright Bite on this channel, I lose like 7 subscribers or 10 subscribers. It's really weird. I don't get it. Maybe they see it, they're like, what the? I didn't sign up for this nonsense. I don't know. I mean, obviously the majority of people are, of course, staying to watch it. But the lovely Dahlia Dark returned this past week after an absence. And man, she came back with a bang. We did an episode called Operation Catfight. And it was super involved. Like, in comparison, when I do these Friday night hangouts, there's not really much preparation involved for this, aside from maybe taking a shower and making a thumbnail for it, which takes a minute, of course, and then just uploading the information onto StreamYard that makes its way to YouTube, of course, and just, of course, making a post about it. So I would say, all in all, maybe an hour prep to do a show like this, where something as ambitious as the Fright Bite, seriously takes days to do. Dahlia Dark and her family came to my place to film some of the scenes, and it was pretty crazy. It was a lot of fun. She's super into the show and has really like put a ton of effort into it. She loves doing it, and so she'll be doing the Fright Bite as long as Count Cracula does. And this week she had a cool mannequin that she got that we used for the character Bear Her Neck, which was one of the super vampires that escaped from Dr. Von Brainscan's lab. And Fankoli she captured, if you saw that past episode. But she brought this mannequin over here and had this whole outfit for her. And she, of course, had to wear the outfit also, which was a very risque outfit if you haven't watched the episode yet. I'll show you a little previously on here to have a watch along with me. Plus, I have some cool behind the scenes stuff. But just an overview of what we got going on tonight. I'm going to talk about all the bands I'm playing in right now. Like I went from being, I don't even know if you want to call it laid off, but in September of 2025, that was it for me. I'd done the last solo shows with Stephen that were on the books for the year, and the DeMartini thing was going. So I was kind of like out of a gig, so to speak. But then all of a sudden, all this stuff started happening at one time. I started, well, first it kicked off with our buddy Gary from Sin Crazy had hired me to work on his song with him. And that's gotten pretty far at this point. And then the project came up, doing stuff with the project. Now Pump 5 is back in the mix. But let me see, 13A, which you guys probably don't even know who that is, but Asphalt Ballet from the late 80s, early 90s. I had a band with Mike and Julius called 13A in San Diego. They were kind of a hardcore, metal kind of band here, and we won the Miller Genuine Draft Battle of the Bands in 1999. A long time ago. But every so often we do a reunion show, and I got the call one of those is going to be happening. The theme song to The Unleashed has Jay singing that. And I wrote that song back in the late 90s, and he's actually singing Walking with the Dead. I didn't steal it from the Zombie Show. That was actually a song I wrote in like 1999. And that's me, Walking with the Dead. I'm singing that part. The recording's kind of not that great. It sounds kind of punk rock though, so I left it. I could redo it with those guys or something, but anyways, let me see. How am I going to go about this tonight? Talking to you guys about everything going on. One thing that I'm going to mention, next Friday, you guys know Pete Evick from Bret Michaels band? We have similar occupations dating back about the same amount of time. I mean, I think he's been playing for Bret pretty much as long as I've been playing for Steven, probably 25 years. And he also has a history with Bret going back, I think, to their at least high school days. So it's interesting. And I've, of course, known Steven since I was in junior high school. So we both have that common thing going on as hired guns, so to speak. So it should be an interesting hang, he and I talking to each other about things that we have in common, and it should be an interesting hangout for you guys too. So mark your calendars for that. I'll put a link for that up by tomorrow so you guys can get an alert on it or whatever. So my boy Pete will be on the show. But yeah, let's check out, well, let me take some more comments here. I don't want to rush through everything. T-Cuz, I thought no hanging tonight, but all right. Yeah, man, I'll always be here for you guys. The only reason why I wouldn't be is if I was on the road, which there is going to be a few instances of that. The first shows that I will be playing, I'm going to play you some of this. Pump 5. Have you guys checked out Pump 5? Alex Kane from Live Sex and Death has been playing with them for some years now, and he's out on the road doing the Pretty Tied Up thing with Chips Enough, which that we're super stoked for him. And he's doing a ton of dates out there, and Pump 5 has shows that they do nationally in the States here. And so they hit me back up. They're like, dude, you want to rock some shows with us? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And the first one is going to be in Colorado. and it's going to be on Saturday, March 7th. And so I'll be traveling the day before that. So there's not going to be a live hangout that night. But anytime I'm not there, I'm going to be filming stuff. So I'll do like a road vlog for the Pump 5 show. I do have more Stephen Pearcy road vlogs to put out. I will, as I said, from this point, I have been given the privilege of hosting those. As well as Stephen. When you go to Stephen Pearcy's site, he and Christy do a day in the life videos that you can check out and all kinds of cool stuff. They have a Patreon, and so forth. But as far as, the privilege of hosting, blogs, vlogs, or what have you for the Pearcy shows, I now handle that. And I know there's 5 gigs coming up. Some of them are pretty big. I'll be doing road vlogs for that. But I thought you guys would like to see some of the other stuff I do too. So this show that I go out to Colorado, I'm going to document that and make a road vlog for the channel for that too. I'm trying to give a variety of stuff. I mean, there's more to my life than just the Stephen Pearcy band. I've really enjoyed doing the Fright Bite, of course. I know it's a little bit of a bait and switch because the majority of people that signed up for the channel did it based on being fans of Ratt and Stephen and my career with him. And I do appreciate all that. But, I also have a sense of humor and like to do funny, spoofy stuff. And the Fright Bite that originally got its start for my subscriber group on Facebook, and it was also connected to the Chris Aiken Presents. Once that Chris Aiken Presents came to an end, I go, you know what? I want to bring the Fright Bite to the general public. So 8 weeks ago, we went ahead and I got Dahlia Dark on board and we brought the Fright Bite to you guys. A lot of people, as I said, they don't understand it. I don't understand why they don't understand it. It's just a fun comedy. It's also a hangout, just like this is a hangout. It's live. Like if you want to talk to Dahlia Dark, you can talk to us in the chat and we're going to live read your comments and everything. And same with the count. While we're here, I might as well show you the previously from last week so you could just see the goofiness that I'm talking about. But this is something I edited from the Operation Catfight this week. Let's check it out. Previously on the Fright Bite. Bearneck is going to be at a downtown goth dance party. That was me, if you didn't figure that out. I also play the role of Dr. Von Brainscan. Anyways.
Okay, try to blend in. Dance around, and I'll look over here, you look over there.
We need you and Dahlia to bring her on back.
Let's show this Von Brainscan super vampire how we do things downtown. Dahlia is giving me an atomic veggie!
How dare you give Count Cracula an atomic wedgie!
Just keep me covered. If you see anything funny, step in with the laser eyes. No! Right in the kandikies!
It's not that unsafe. I mean...
Dahlia is giving me a noogie! Right in the padoodles!
No one kicks Count Cracula into the doodles. Well, except for me.
Whoa! Hey! You know, you're dealing with an ancient...
We need you to subdue her for sure. She's a danger to the public.
Oh! Right in the nuts!
We can't have super vampires running around out there. It makes us look bad. You know what I mean?
You're coming with me, Baroneck. Are we done here?
We need to continue our research and development here. We appreciate your service.
There's a freezer in the back. Let's take Baroneck there and chill her down until Dr. Von Brainscan's people can scoop her up. We got a show to do. Come on.
Great. Good luck. We'll talk to you later.
Damn, son.
Damn, son. Yeah, crazy stuff. Yeah, most of those scenes we shot here. We also did like a photo shoot so we could do new promo pictures. So those promo pics you see, those aren't AI or anything like that. We actually were like here in front of a green screen, like posing for those. So that was kind of fun to do. In fact, I thought I'd show like a little behind the scenes from this week when her family came over here. It was funny, and she does have a young one who likes Count Cracula, by the way, a very young kid, and was laughing like a lot the whole time. So that was another thing we were contending with here was the fact that her daughter cracks up laughing at Count Cracula, especially when he's getting, you know, kicked in the kanikis and all that stuff.
Here we are behind the scenes of the Fright Bite, and the lovely Dahlia getting ready to kick.
You see my kitchen in the background. Yeah, we just like kind of took over my living room so we could have more room like to do the action scenes. But I appreciate her so much. She's really worked super hard. Just us getting vampire teeth put in took like it took like an hour. It was kind of funny. But so much work goes into this. I don't think people really understand compared to your typical live podcasts out there that are just low effort for the most part. You know, people they just turn on the camera and ask for donations. They're not really doing anything or whatever. And I mean, we're trying to like definitely go the extra mile. So if you know people that would think this is funny or appreciate goddesses like Dahlia Dark, maybe like share it with them or let them know about it. We appreciate it.
Some major ass as per the usual. How about you, bare her neck? You're not baring your neck tonight, though, are you?
One thing was funny. So she got this mannequin, and somehow, you know, we have a family and trying to pack everything up and get everything. There's always going to be something that you maybe forget, and they didn't actually have the head that came with the mannequin. She actually had to get a second head that had the hair on it already. And that required this other head. Now, I think it was good that it worked out that way, because if she had the actual mannequin head that went on, the neck was like super long. So when she was like doing the fight scenes and everything, if she had the actual original head that came with the mannequin would look like it was 7 feet tall. And, you know, Dahlia's not 7 feet. She's tall, but she's not 7 feet tall. So what we ended up doing was duct taping the head that just had the hair onto it. So that's what you're seeing, the black tape. But it kind of worked as long as we didn't turn the mannequin sideways. Then it looked like she had a weird growth coming out of the back of her head. But we were able to like bring the head down to a normal level where we could make this mannequin work. But I'll tell you, like after we were done filming all this, she had left the mannequin behind here, and I had to like cover it up because I look like a perv or something. Just all like, if you saw this thing, just it had like taped up nipples. I don't even know how that happened. I don't remember doing that part. But anyways, I had to hide this thing from Susan or she would think I was a total freak. Let's look at some more behind the scenes shots here.
I don't know where she is. Hey, what's that? Oh no, it's an atomic veggie. What? Hey, those are my Calvin Kleins.
she was cracking up at all this. If I have one more here, maybe.
Oh, right in the nuts.
So look what I've put up with for you guys. What do we got here? Oh, hey, Tim Lloyd super sticker. Thank you, my homie Tim. I hope you're doing good in Texas and Dallas, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you. Tim's a good dude. He shows up in some of the Pearcy Road vlogs. Like if we're ever in Dallas or Texas, you'll see Tim in there, which is pretty dope. Let me say hi to some more people here tonight. I always get lost where I am. Did you get pizza in Ganja too? I did eat pizza today. I had pizza for breakfast this morning. And then that's pretty much all I ate. And of course I had some ganja today and this afternoon. And I took a nap, you know. Stoney Jackson, evening mofos, let's go. I think I gotta give a Roth scream. Yeah. Get back into these comments here. Greasy Nuts 5150 saying giving the horns up to Pete Evick. So yeah, Greasy Nuts is gonna be here next Friday for the hang with Pete Evick, and that's a good thing. No, I love Pete. We go back pretty far, and he's always been super cool to me. At one point, we teamed up, and when I was doing the Sea Glass Hunter show, and he had his candle, he still has his candle company, but we made a sea glass candle together that was a big hit, and we always talked about doing something like that again. Oh, pool time with Ron. What is up, Eric? Happy 13th. Yes, sir. Thank you. Happy Friday the 13th. To you guys. Dale Groot, I like Pete, very humble dude, does a great job with Brett. He does. There's a difference, you know, between Poison and the Bret Michaels band when you see the two bands. Obviously you see Poison and you see CC DeVille up there, you know, he has that iconic star factor that we remember from the Poison days, and when he's up there, you got the four guys. It's like seeing the four, I don't know if you'd put it the same as seeing the four original members of Kiss or something like that, but it's somewhat, you know, and it is its own thing, and it's less of them, right? It's Poison, it's just the dudes, and they're focused. When Bret Michaels comes to town and he brings his like party gras or whatever, he's got this huge band of great people with him that are all terrific musicians, and it's a whole, it's literally a party on stage, and I can see why he continues to do that and have fun with it, you know. And I've always, you know, Vince Neil, similar, you know, Vince Neil doesn't have as many people in his band, but he basically has the guys that are in Slaughter playing for him, and he does plenty of solo shows. And I've always, you know, felt that Steven should do that. You know, why not go do your solo shows, and then do the bigger gigs with Poison or Ratt Poison, put those guys out for a summer run or something. We'll see how it goes. I really don't have the inside scoop on the DeMartini Steven thing, or what's going to happen with Ratt. The only facts I know is that I'm doing the record with him, and that we have 5 shows right now. He was talking about wanting to do more private events or something, but I'm sure, you know, he's made it clear his focus, like this year, is going to try to do as many shows with Warren as they can get. And so I wish him the best with that. And I'm going to go and stay busy doing stuff too. I mean, this past weekend, I also shot 2 music videos for the project. And I like to put the project ticker tape. We have the same booking agent as Bad Marriage. I know you guys know Fitzy and Bad Marriage. AFM Entertainment and Len at AFM Entertainment. Wouldn't it be cool at .com? Wouldn't it be cool to have Bad Marriage and the project come to your town and party with you guys and have like a night of rock and roll? The only way that's going to happen is if you contact Len at afmentertainment.com and you say, we want this show in our town. You have to actually like put some effort into it. You know what I mean? And then Len gets a call, and then they figure it out, and then we start coming out and playing shows, hopefully together. You know what I mean? But I am hearing about project headline shows as well. Pump 5, there's different gigs happening. I was going to show you guys the first one. I'm going to play part of this commercial coming up, and then I'm going to pull the sound out because they start playing a bunch of music from the Cult, and I don't want to have to share anything tonight with anybody. But
get ready for a wave of memories, Colorado. On Saturday, March 7th, the Wild Goose Saloon in Parker presents the new...
So the Wild Goose Saloon in Parker, Colorado. This is pretty cool. The band that's headlining is called New Wave, and I know these dudes because it's Tony Fennell, who you guys have probably seen with Enough's Enough, and he was the singer in Ultravox for a while, and he was also playing in When in Rome. Like when I was in Bow Wow Wow, we were on tour together, and Michael Floriel, who was the founding member, excuse me, of When in Rome, I promise you I will. Michael was on that tour, and I totally got to spend a lot of time with those guys, and we partied our butts off. And this will be the first time all three of us will be back in the same club again since 2020. So 6 years it's been. So that's super cool. And they have Les Warner. Was the drummer for the Cult when they first started out. And that's why they had a bunch of Cult music playing during this. And I was like, ew, I don't know if I want to have the Cult music in there. I'm going to get hit with a copyright thing on there. But yeah, so the band, New Wave, they do a bunch of cool New Wave covers. I'm sure they're doing When in Rome songs too. And it's Michael Floriel from When in Rome, Tony Fennell, and Les Warner. So they're the headliners. We're going to be, Pump 5 will be opening the show. Pump 5 plays all original songs. Go check out the Pump 5 YouTube channel. You'll find that Steve the singer has a really kick-ass voice. I mean, he's a great singer, and all their songs are rocking. I mean, you feel like when you hear their songs, you're like, do I know this song? It's like you could see a band like Pump 5 and enjoy yourself at it just because it's like mainstream rock music with a great singer, and it's very high energy. He's a very high energy guy. His energy levels of like a Sebastian Bach, level. So it's going to be a great time. There's also a band, Aftershock, that's going to be on the bill as well. So that'll be my first gig this year, coming up less than a month away. So if you're in Colorado, head out there. Let's hang March 7th, 2026. And I'm trying to see if I know they put some other things in. Besides that one, I know we're doing more of those. I know I should have looked at this sooner. Anyways, maybe they're around tonight and they could say something about it in here. Okay, let me get rid of this ticker tape stuff. Is that off? Yes. Okay, let me pull this away as well. As far as other stuff with playing music, so the project, I wanted to talk about that. Shot 2 music videos with those guys about, God, was it 2 weeks ago already? Went up there, had to bring a change of clothes because we basically shot a video for the song Hope, which that one was kind of like a porch song. We had like all acoustic guitars and we were kind of like bros sitting on the porch kind of song. And so we shot a video for that, which actually came out looking pretty great. And then we moved, this all went down at Jimmy, the guitarist, like where he lives. Like there's this porch there at his house, and then in the his little gated community there's a swimming pool, and I guess he got the okay for us to set up a whole rock band setup with a PA. And we made our way over to the pool and we changed our clothes and did a rock song from Pump 5, Best Days, a song called Best Days. And that was a lot of fun. They had their friends there. These bands, Pump 5 and The Project, both like appeal to a pretty wide range of age groups, and like even old people like them as well. Like, what I say that because there was this one like older lady, she had to be like 80 years old, that was like walking in the neighborhood, and she saw what was going on and she came up and she's dancing, and I'm pretty sure they got her in the video as well. So Jimmy got a 2-for-1 out of us. We shot 2 videos for The Project. You guys might have seen the one we did last year, which was for Death of Me, which is an awesome song. Also had Jimmy Deanda on drums there, and yeah, good stuff. So you'll be seeing new videos. 13A, I mentioned we're going to be doing a reunion show here in San Diego. So if you remember us from back in the day, that's going to go down in April. I think I'm trying to think what the first Pearcy show I have is on April 21st. So as far as like the next, current road vlog will be for that, but I'm going to probably put out a few older ones just to keep you guys satisfied since I'm losing people when I do the Fright Bite for whatever reason. One thing about the Fright Bite that I was super stoked about, these came in. I'm trying to do it so the reflection doesn't show, but these came out pretty dope. This is a Fright Bite poster. It's reflecting my computer screen. But doesn't that look amazing? I framed mine and I keep it in the bathroom, so when I'm going to the bathroom in the morning, I can look up at my accomplishments and go, wow. But no, these posters took a long time because I thought I was getting them made here in the States, but they came from Portugal and they ended up like getting held up. What do you call that when it has to go with customs? It was customs is where it got held up, and it took like a month and a half to get them, but they finally came in. Here's another picture of them. But this past weekend when we were filming Operation Cat Fight, Dahlia Dark and the Count signed a ton of these. Not a ton. I made less than 100. I actually made 100 and destroyed one by accident because I went to sign it and the Sharpie exploded. And I was like, well, there's only 99 of them now. But no, we're gonna do different posters, as time goes on. But this is the first one, and it was just special because it was like from the first week of us doing the show together, and she really liked the werewolf on there, and so this had a little sentimental quality for us as kicking off our our show together, really. So we signed these, so we thought you guys might be interested in wanting to own one. We have people that won these on Dahlia Dark's Wheel of Misfortune. Do I have a Wheel of Misfortune here to show that?
Wheel of Misfortune.
So yeah, the Wheel of Misfortune, the poster has been one of the prizes, and there's also a t-shirt, and we had some winners, and we're going to get their addresses so they can get their free ones. But I mean, it's the Wheel of Misfortune, so chances are you're not going to win anything except something bad. That's what makes it misfortunate. But for you guys that are interested in buying one of these, I'm going to put a couple links up tonight. And where is that? I made a whole thing, man. Come on. Oh, here it is. Okay, see this the QR code here at the top of the screen. If you take that QR code, it should take you to my business Venmo for Erik Ferentinos, and I set it up. It's $40 for the autograph poster, and I base that price on like what we had to spend to get them and all that and sign them, and they are limited edition, and it is to help the show. But I also got these pretty awesome shipping tubes. The first poster went out to Stephen Pearcy. He's the only one that has one on his way to him right now. And he's a fan of the show. He loves it. He gets it. He's always laughing at it. And in my mind, I thought everybody was going to laugh at it, but apparently like not everybody thinks it's funny, or that, I'm sure we're all different, and that's okay. I'm not demanding that everybody likes it. I was just, for those of you that do like it, can you please continue to let other people that you think would like it know about it? Because it's what I think makes it unique and cool is that it's a live event that's interactive for you guys. So you actually are a part of it. Like every episode of the Fright Bite, you have a chance to be on the show. You have a chance to talk to the Count. You have a chance to talk to Dahlia and have the dialogue read live. And you're forever etched into the history of the Fright Bite when that happens. And most shows we watch on TV were pre-recorded months, if not, several months before. And this is a live thing we do. And it's, when you stop and think about how sketchy that is to do something like that. I mean, we really don't even, the Fright Bite itself, the whole storyline going on has been basically writing itself in a weird way. And even you guys have influenced it. Like, Spicoli's one of our regulars here, and he influenced Fang Coley, one of the villains on the show. Bare Her Neck kind of came with my obsession with G.I. Joe back in 1985, or no, actually 1982 through probably 1985. I was way into G.I. Joe, and the Baroness was always a super sexy, cool character, and I knew Dahlia would be able to pull that off. So that was her assignment, to be Bare Her Neck, and wow, she took that one. I mean, as Bare Her Neck, I think she looks more like the Baroness than these Comic-Con G.I. Joe Baroness cosplay women that I've seen out there. Like, honestly, there's probably a GI, I could probably be a Dreadnought, right? I could be I always liked Zartan's Dreadnoughts, and I look like one of the motorcycle guys, that I should go as a Dreadnought and she should go as the Baroness, and I bet we could fricking clean up at Comic-Con. I don't know. Could you get money for that sort of thing? I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to keep this up at the top, and then also in the link, there's a desktop link to get one of the posters too. That's in the comments, and make sure that you put if you do throw down for that, put your mailing address in with your payment so that I can have that and I get that sort of thing out right away. And we appreciate it. It'll help build the show, and you'll have an awesome Fright Bite werewolf autograph poster by the Count and Dahlia Dark. So, where's my sexy times? I got to throw a sexy times on this, man. Come on.
Sexy times.
That's right. Because Dahlia Dark.
Wasn't she pretty, princess?
She's such a pretty princess. The Count had really missed Dahlia and was scared she wasn't going to come back. It turns out that she was at Dr. Von Dr. Von Brain Scam's secret government underground laboratory, and it wasn't that she hated the Count or anything, but when she came back, the Count decided to perform a live song for her from a band called Vampire Mode, and he did a song called Personal Vampire, and I thought we could witness that tonight. It's always sketchy doing like serious live performances, and the guitar that the Count used was just my Epiphone. I have like an Epiphone Hummingbird that's like a $200 beater guitar from Musician's Friend or whatever, and the action's super high on it. And I could plug it in, but I haven't figured out exactly. That's ultimately what I want to do. I want to like have it set up where I could have my interface where when I go to perform live stuff on the show, it at least has a little bit of reverb or something, just to smooth it out. I did, full disclosure, I put reverb on this after the show. So if you watch the episode, it's dry. I didn't change the performance or anything like that, but I was able to basically in iMovie just throw some reverb on it. So that's all you're hearing here. So here we go. I do this one song from a band you might recognize. They're called Vampire Mode. Some of you might remember, but this was a hit song I'm going to attempt to do tonight. But it's called Reach Out and Touch Fang. So here we go. It's funny. I couldn't even remember what the name of the song was for a minute. I was looking at, I had the lyrics written down because, for one, it wouldn't be funny if I really practiced it a bunch. You know what I mean? Like when I've done covers, the last one I did was Smashing Pumpkins. I did the song Disarm. And what I do is like probably an hour before the show, I kind of learn it on guitar, and then I'll write down the lyrics and just kind of hope for the best. So I'm never really that practiced, but to me, I thought that's funnier that way. You know what I mean? If it's so I'm just kind of winging it here and could totally screw up at any moment. That's what's funny about it to me. Reach out and touch fangs. Your own personal vampire. Someone to hear your prayers, someone who scares. Your own personal how happy it makes her. I figured out that's her weakness. Dahlia's weakness is live music. She loves it. She's just, I don't know, you could tell she's just loves hearing this right now.
Someone to hear your prayers, someone who scares. Feeling unknown and you're all alone, flesh and bone by the telephone. Lift up the receiver, I'll make you a believer. Take second best, put me to the test. Things on your chest, you need to confess. I will deliver, you know I'm a forgiver.
Wow.
Reach out and touch fangs. Your own.
Anyway, I'll spare you guys. But yeah, if you're into that sort of thing, I'm starting to do, or the account's starting to do more live performances because Dahlia gets so knocked out by them, and she's easy to please in that department anyway. So you'll expect that. It's kind of just a variety show. It is a spoof podcast, but in some ways it's not because of the interactive factor, the fact that you guys are a part of it, and you might ask about stuff or what Dahlia thinks or the Count thinks about things going on in pop culture, society, or whatever. So that is, in a sense, just like a regular podcast would be. I mean, they do answer you, and the Count's a little bit of everything. I mean, yeah, he's a vampire, but it's kind of like a stand-up comedy type deal, and like a variety show, or like I always thought it like Elvira, Mystery Science Theater, 3000, Conan O'Brien. The Conan part is more just the live factor of when he'd have like live things and skits going on. He would talk to characters, like Conan would be at his news desk, and then a character would come out, or there would be somebody in the audience, and he would have some dialogue that he kind of cut away from the podcast to have this dialogue. So that's kind of where I got the idea to have things going on live. So even when I've like pre-recorded bits as like Dr. Von Brainscan, he'll call up and then I have to actually interact with it. So it's still a live performance for you guys. But I guess I just tripped out because it seems like every week I go through all this effort, to do the show, and I'll turn around and there'll be like 6 people that totally bailed. And I was like, really? You were maybe they're just offended by it. What you guys tell me in the chat what you think it is that I don't gain one new person when I put on a Fright Bite and lose like 6 people. I can take it. Look at this. Look how thick my skin is. It's not doing any damage. This knife's not doing any damage. No, it's pretty thick. You can tell me why it is, because maybe it's something I could change or whatever. Does Stephen Pearcy need to be in the Fright Bite for you guys to want to see it? Maybe it's something that simple.
Sexy times.
But I mean, when you see how many times I had to like get kicked in the kanikis, Danger is my business. Crazy. Anyways, Spicoli, are you throwing down tonight? Bro, $10 for the weed fund, son. Hell yeah. Well, thank you, sir. That's always appreciated. Thank you very much. Yeah. We got some more comments here. I'm finally getting a knack for all the buttons here. Oh, you guys got a lot of comments in here tonight. I'm going to have to talk to you guys for a bit. Tika, Stephen Shredden. Yeah. Steven definitely, I like his guitar playing. I think it's edgy and loose and like punk rock, and it's just there's just a heavy-handed attitude towards it when he plays in comparison to your most refined players that we see on YouTube. The ones that's just every note's perfection and it's so smooth, and it's like it doesn't catch my attention the same way as just a raw guitar player might, like a Mick Mars or from Motley or somebody like that. You know what I mean? Those kind of solos that just like, they're just like a joke in your ear, But no, so I like it. Obviously he's more a singer performance wise, but I mean he writes the songs and his a lot of his material and so forth. So it was cool that he let me come in and be a part of it and play some parts on his. He has some guest players that are going to throw down too. Obviously drummers Blas Elias is in there, has played some stuff. There's going to be some other guitar players that do some solos here on some of it. Some of them will be my solos. I think we let the cat out of the bag that Billy Corgan is going to be involved in the record as well. So that's a huge honor. And that's for one of my tunes. So, I mean, this could be a cool year for me, even if I'm not completely out with Steven the whole year. I'm still totally affiliated with him, which I love. And the fact some of you will see me perform out there with him. So that's pretty badass too. And Spicoli is as also requested some Diamond Dave. Yeah. Steve Rosen had contacted me. If you saw the live hang where we did the Tone Chasers, he's the author of Tone Chaser, Understanding Edward Van Halen, and that was a fun episode. That's where I had originally pulled up that Roth Scream for that show, and of course Tris Mahaffey, Mahaffey Amplifiers, which had taken me to the NAMM show. Got me to NAMM, and he already wants me back next year. So next year, I think I want to set up a better performance scenario, because it was so loose. It was like him and I were just sitting on the floor, and then he's like, "Hey, you want to come check it out?" And then I just had my back. I was just kind of messing around for a second, but I really didn't have anything, worked out. So maybe next year I'll do something a little more, official at the booth. Yeah. So Spicoli wants to know, anyone cool stop by the studio yet? No, just the usual suspects, me, Matt, and Steven. Blas already had gone in and worked on doing the drums on Steven's songs. The ones that I went of mine still have the MIDI drums, so there's still going to be, I'm not sure Blas is playing on all that. I've heard some other names. I think Steven, knows he's not going to do 10 more records, you know what I mean? Maybe he'll do, I don't know. You know what I mean? I honestly, I hear when artists maybe have a short-term plan or something like that, but in my heart, I'm like, man, I hope he keeps continuing like Alice Cooper. You know what I mean? I just saw Alice Cooper, and it was an amazing show, and Alice Cooper is 80 years old. Steven's going to be 70, but, it's still, Alice is kind of setting the bar for what's possible, which we never probably thought that would be possible. When it was the 70s and we were seeing Alice Cooper, did you think you were going to see him on stage when he was 80? But there he is, and he's got this kick-ass band of obviously younger people, but it's pretty cool, man. And I always thought Steven wasn't similar to Alice Cooper. Their tonality, their voice, and just their being an icon, similar icon status. And I would love to see Steven out for a whole nother decade. I hope he does, definitely. But, for in his mind, whatever his plan is or strategy, he just knows on this record he wanted it to be special. And he's like, look, I want to have some big names come in and play on this. I want to have some people that he respects as players, do some noodling here and there. He and I write all the songs, that part, the composition. Steven, I just went and played on 4 of his songs. And then I went up and I did at least 6, I think, that I put in there. But we have so many more. That's why I'm thinking, if we actually do sign or Steven, obviously, if Steven signs a deal right now, it would likely be a 3-album deal. And we do have all those songs. Honestly, there's a lot. I mean, I think I gave Steven 35 songs. When I say that, I mean compositions. But when I give him those compositions, they're pretty much ready. Those songs are ready to go. They don't really require much more than maybe retracking the stuff. But the way they're laid out and everything is usually good for him. And that's that. It just works, man. Let me see what else we got going on here. Dale Groot, and you're back for more. You turn away. Hey, right. I think I read these. Okay. Moving along. Antonio Martinez. Cool look with the flannel. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. You know, I'll always be a 90s guy. I turned 18 in 1990, I believe, or 1991. Anyway, are you guys my age? I'm 53 right now. And the 90s were interesting, man. The 90s were such a struggle for me personally. Like, I just struggled. I didn't really have the support that, some of the artists that kind of made it got. I say that, speaking of the 90s, Kurt Cobain, let's talk about Kurt Cobain for a second, because they reopened his murder case. Whoa, read. It's Friday the 13th. We might as well talk about that. But the Kurt Cobain alleged suicide was a dark time. I mean, I'm not somebody I know a lot of the 80s rockers hated Nirvana and blamed Nirvana for the reason that hair metal went away. Like, that's all you hear about. But my recollection was different. I mean, I did like all that music. It hadn't been that many years since I was playing my Iron Maiden records and White Snake or whoever, right? I had all the rock stuff, AC/DC. But then Nirvana came along and it was just different. And for my age group, that was our generation's music. It was mostly the Seattle bands. It was, Stone Temple Pilots, or they weren't Seattle, but like Soundgarden and Alice in Chains and those bands, ruled the airwaves. That was like the rock bands of my age group's generation. And I didn't hate it. It was just different. I mean, it was still heavy, a lot of it. There were some differences, like it didn't have the guitar solos, and if there was a guitar solo, it was more blues based. Wah pedals were used a lot. I remember I had my wah pedal going back then. A lot of the high register, hair band singing kind of went away. However, Soundgarden, Chris Cornell really still continued to hit very high notes. So that wasn't true. Like, all aspects went away. And again, all those bands are totally fans of Ratt, and all those bands, don't let them tell you any different. Even the Pearl Jam guys, I'm sure, loved Ratt. But it was just different times. But I'll tell you, when any of those guys passed away, it was definitely, it was a to the heart, and it's weird. It's weird that most of those singers are gone. I find it interesting. And you always hear a little something, a little smoke going on, that there might be something more to it. Chris Cornell's death is weird to me. Like, I know that the family members go along with it. Nope, it was suicide. If you knew him, you'd understand. He was on this medication, but when you stop and go, wait, can you tell me the facts involved, like the forensic files part of it, like what was going on and where they found him? It gets pretty shady. But I don't want to get too off topic. Let me go back to Kurt Cobain. So they opened up the case again, and I found myself, I was talking to Susan about it, and I go, I asked her if she had seen the Kurt and Courtney documentary, and she couldn't remember if she had seen it. And we found it on Tubi. So if you haven't seen this documentary, it's been out for a long time, but it's called Kurt and Courtney. And the documentator that put it together is really good. And he really did his diligence, like looking into this back then. But it was interesting how hard Courtney Love was just putting the kibosh on this documentary at every turn. You know what I mean? He wasn't able to use any music of Kurt's, even if it was like some demo-y stuff that was never released. He wasn't able to use anything happening. She was just totally trying to shut it down. It almost reminded me of Scientologists. Have you ever heard of how Scientologists get as a handler? They have their handlers that go out and make sure that, they're protecting Scientology at all times. You know what I mean? And it was creepy, what this guy's going through just during the documentary is interesting. But, some key takeaways, the two probably most compelling things, Courtney Love's dad is pretty goddamn compelling when he's basically telling you, no, Kurt wanted a divorce. He was done with her. This is her dad, which is really weird because the way he talks about her, I mean, you can tell he hasn't been in her life since she was 4. I mean, I'm not trying to say this guy's a good guy or anything. I think he worked for the Grateful Dead, and there's allegations against him that he gave Courtney Love LSD as a child, and there was maybe weird shit going on. I mean, she didn't turn out that great. You know, I would definitely classify Courtney as a high risk teenager, which, you know, according to him, you know, she was involved in some pretty scandalous stuff as a young teenager. And eventually, you know, that's why he's like, you can't be here, you know, and she went off. But, you know, in her defense, I don't know if she really was involved with this or not. It's all alleged, but this documentary definitely gives you that idea. I think she's she's a fascinating person. You know what I mean? She's a very powerful woman, you know, without a doubt. And I thought Hole was cool back then, and I definitely think that she had what it took to be a front person of a band. I mean, there was a minute there where Hole was kind of a big deal, and it was right when Kurt died. It was like, it seemed like it was the same year, the same month, and it's like I look at it like it was like a corporate hostile takeover. You know what I mean? And it's crazy when you watch this documentary and you realize that she only knew Kurt for like 2 or 3 years and just took over everything and his whole life and Nirvana and just the whole finances of it all was all of a sudden that was all hers. You know what I mean? And it's crazy to think you only knew somebody that long and took over this monster known as Nirvana. Is crazy. So, I mean, as far as a motive, there's definitely a motive. Like when her dad lays that down, like, Kurt wanted a divorce, and he actually I had also heard that he got treatment for some of his ailments that he always whined about, that he would self-medicate and do drugs for. Like he had apparently like worked some of that out, you know, stomach problems and stuff. So he was feeling good, and I think he was enjoying, you know, some of his fame, even though when you watch the documentary and you hear anecdotal stories from people that he grew up, that he knew back then, and where he's from in Seattle, he seemed like a really cool guy. You know what I mean? One thing I liked about Kurt is that he never bought into the whole bling bling. You know what I mean? He was a flannel guy, and you know, he didn't like driving fancy cars or anything like that. And he thought that part of the rock star thing was stupid. And he's also, you know, spoken out against things in the industry, which, you know, were positive, I think, for artists, you know, just looking out for artists in general. I think Kurt was cool. I mean, we really were robbed. You know what I mean? Look at the career that Dave Grohl's had, you know, with the Foo Fighters. And I mean, it's been a pretty amazing ride for Dave Grohl, but what would we have gotten out of Kurt Cobain? You know, had he maybe gotten off drugs? I mean, drugs can end you if you stay doing hard drugs. I mean, there's no like lifelong heroin addicts. You know what I mean? Most of those guys, yeah, obviously Lane Staley, you know, Scott Weiland, all these guys, it stung, man. When these dudes died, it was like, whoa, because I feel like when it's the bands that you listen to in high school and just those last years of being a young, like you're just barely an adult, but you don't really have all the bummer responsibilities that are going to be coming your way down the road. You know, you're still kind of young and have your friends and your good times, and you think about that music that was around, and it takes you back when you hear those songs. It takes you right back like a time machine to your youth. And, you know, so when these guys passed away, it was just sad, man. And seeing these bands try to continue it, those were just too big of shoes to fill, you know. I mean, I know STP's still playing. I know Alice in Chains still playing, but it's just not the same. I do think it's cool that when Jerry Cantrell does his solo shows, are pretty goddamn amazing. Like, he's definitely a voice of Alice in Chains. So having him there does soothe it a little bit. And he's just a great all-around songwriter and guitarist. You know, guys like that, I appreciate so much more than any noodlehead, you know, that's, you know, I'm in it to be in a band. I'm in it to hopefully write songs that people like. I mean, I'm still, that's something I still shoot for. You know what I mean? Man, I want to have some song that people will always like for decades and decades, and know that I helped be a part of that or something. That's an aspiration, if you will. that I have, but I've never had the aspiration of like, I want to be the biggest noodlehead in the planet, and I want everybody to just be so impressed with my sweep picking arpeggios. Like, ugh, I could never stand that. I mean, that was something in the 80s that was annoying to me. Like when I started seeing those guitar players start coming out. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Steve Vai is like an amazing guitarist, and I love some of the music that he's created. So I'm not lumping him in. He's a very unique player. But at the time when he was coming out, it seemed like that was like 86 to 1990. There was this just overload of these shredder Tony McAlpine people. There was these Shrapnel Records or whatever putting out all these like guys playing the stuff. And I remember back then going, I will never be able to play that. But I just never let it stop me from pursuing being in a rock band, because that wasn't the music I grew up on. Like, I grew up listening to the Rolling Stones and Jimi Hendrix and these people and the Doors, and later, Van Halen. I mean, you could definitely put that in a shredder category. But again, Eddie was so much more than that. He was such an amazing songwriter and composer, and he wasn't shredding constantly all the time. I mean, he did plenty of melodic, mellow stuff along with the crazier things. But I just try to say I never let that stop me, and I consider myself to be a performer, really. You know what I mean? I can sing. I can I have a presence on stage. I've been playing guitar for a really long time. I mean, shit, over 35 years. So, I mean, I'm comfortable up there with my instrument, playing in front of thousands of people. It's just that's what I do. You know what I mean? I don't sit here making sweep picking bedroom videos where I'm like, oh, let me redo that. Oh, and most of these guys, by the way, are totally faking that shit. I mean, not everybody. Some people are gullible when they watch this, but I can tell just looking at it that they're miming. They're miming with something that they went in and cleaned up in Pro Tools or whatever. You know what I mean? They have a lot of pressure on them to be perfection. You know what I mean? So they can't help themselves. They have to go in and do all that. But it's rare that you see a guy actually performing live guitar for you on those channels. A lot of it's fake and BS. But there are people that do play along with real songs too. But again, you're going to get a copyright thing as a creator. You're not going to directly benefit financially from playing somebody else's song live. In fact, like, I can't even perform a lot of my stuff with Steven. That'll definitely get hit. I would get paid on the other end of it. You know what I mean? Through broadcast music or BMI. I would see something when these songs are streamed or whatever. But it's such a crazy small amount of money. Like, I mean, the money that I made tonight is probably close to what I'll get for a whole year of streaming of Stephen Pearcy songs. It's that pathetic. It's just, and it's like that for a lot. I mean, the way that works, there's these superstar bands, the Taylor Swifts and the whatever out there, where they do take care of those people. You know what I mean? The ones at the top of the mountain get their stream pay and stuff. But everybody under there is just, they don't really care about those artists. You know what I mean? And now that they've flooded it with AI, it's even probably less money coming in. So that's been the whole reason for me for the pivot. That's been the whole reason for this YouTube pivot, is to just express myself and my creativity in a different way. By doing the Fright Bite, getting to do fun. Like, I found out that I like doing comedy. I like to not do, I'm obviously not a good actor, but I could do comedy. Acting to me is different. Like, it's like Saturday Night Live type acting. I could do that. And I'm getting better at it. And it's fun to produce something and direct it and write it and have that, I don't want to control, but it is cool to have it be something that I'm doing. It's a shit ton of work. But I enjoy it. And when I look at it and the scene works out how I thought it would, and it makes me laugh, I go, there's gotta be other people that think this is funny. All right. Greasy Nuts. When is the projected release for the album? At the rate we're going, probably by maybe the end of summer that it would actually be out on in some capacity. Whether he before that does a video and releases a song, he might decide to do that. He's done it before. Maybe just to keep people talking about it. We might shoot a video and before the album comes out. It might be a good idea for him. Rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet, 5150. Hey, Eric, hope you're good. Glad to be here. Hey, I'm glad that you're here tonight, Robin. I missed you the last couple times, I think. Tika's, an oversized Jiffy Pop container carried us to the moon. Yeah. Have you guys ever been to the Kennedy Space Center and actually looked at the piece of shit lunar module? It's like, it looks, for one, you're like, wait a second, adults got into that? I mean, it's like, it's pretty much a joke when you look at it. And people get really upset. There's two things that make me lose viewers. One is the Fright Bite, and the other is talking to people how we never freaking went to the moon. They get very butthurt about that, and they're like, how dare you say that? And, I don't really care. You can think whatever you want. None of you are going to the moon. I'm not going to the moon. You're not going to the moon. You will die, and you will have never gotten to the moon. And that's it. That's the only truth. David Carrasco. Hey now, dinner dating and no mater baiting? I don't know. Have fun, you all. Yeah. I'm going to have to eat dinner after the show tonight because, it's Pacific time. So 5 o'clock, I wasn't really ready to eat dinner yet. But I hope you guys have a TV dinner going tonight. I hope you have like those old school trays and you have your blankets and you're in front of the TV and you got your Swanson Salisbury steak TV dinner. Did you ever eat those? As a kid, even though they tasted like shit, I was always kind of excited. We didn't usually eat them, so when we did, when you're a kid, you're gonna do something crazy like eat a TV dinner. It's like you thought it was cool. I don't know. I was kind of excited about it, but the mashed potatoes were always freaking terrible, and the Salisbury steak was kind of like a weird sponge. And honestly, the best thing was always the dessert thing in there, that little cherry pie or whatever that they would have as part of the meal. That thing was cool. Sometimes the fried chicken would be okay, but you could just tell that someday I'm going to have a heart attack from this, and that's exactly what happened. Flexerol and Percocet for greasy nuts tonight. Hey, that sounds like a good time. Tika's chesticles. Dale Groot. I watch Fright Bite every Wednesday morning at work. 4 a.m. comes too early to watch live. No, that's all good. It's interesting. I can't tell if people think that they can only watch it live. No, I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to like do something on YouTube. Like, am I supposed to like take that live and then put it with the other videos? Maybe I should break it down and do that and put it over there. But yeah, you actually have to either go to the playlist or you have to go to my lives. It's like its own section on the channel, and you have to go look at it there. When I do like the tour videos, those are actual videos I made ahead of time, and I post those, and I guess those show up in the main area. But yeah, I guess you kind of have to look for it. I'm still figuring out how to market this thing. I haven't really done the blitz yet. I was just trying to see if just word of mouth would have gotten it going, but I can tell this is going to take a little work. Greasy Nuts, who's drumming on the new Pearcy album? Bloss? Yeah, so far it's just been Bloss. But there's a guy who's currently playing in Godsmack, and he's supposed to play on something too, I think. So we'll see. Spicoli, did you get... Yeah, oh yeah, I read that comment already. Okay, let's see where we're at here. Blah, da, 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 da. Greasy Nuts. Loved Pete's interview on the hair metal guru. Yeah, it seems like whenever Pete does an interview, he gets a ton of flack from people about talking anything about Poison. And there was a dust up with Ricky Rocket that happened recently. And, he had called me about it actually like a week ago. And I go, hey, you want to talk about it on the show? But he had a gig last week and he had a gig tonight. So Next week was the first Friday that Pete was actually available for a hang. And we're going to talk about everything from being Star Wars fans to playing for 80s rock legends, Bret Michaels and Stephen Pearcy. We're going to share stories. And who knows, maybe Pete and I will even play some songs. Maybe we'll have a little like campfire jam. I know, see, he does that kind of stuff all the time. Pete's always grabbing his acoustic and playing songs and singing. And maybe we'll do something like that next Friday. If you guys have some requests, let us know. Leave me a comment if you want to hear a song from Pete or you want to hear me perform a song. Leave it in the comments. That's another way to communicate. If you're not at the live hangout on Friday nights or you're not at the Fright Bite, leave comments. It helps the show. It helps when you leave comments. Even if you just go, "Hi," that's a comment. That counts. Jump on a run. Let's all have some fun. Okay, Greasy Nuts. Will you be covering the Pearcy DeMartini gigs? No, I don't have anything to do with those. As of right now, there's 5 Pearcy shows, and I think there's 2 or 3 DeMartini shows. I won't be at those, but I'm going to cover the other bands. I'm going to cover any shows I do with the project. I'm going to cover that first show with Pump 5 and the When in Rome guys that we're going to do in Colorado. I'm going to film that road trip and make a video for that. So I want to like kind of warm you guys up to the other things I do in my life besides the stuff with Steven, but there's totally going to be more stuff with Steven. I mean, we've had some personnel changes, okay, with our team members and stuff. So it should be interesting. And, you guys will get a peek into that through me as the days progress and the weeks. Okay, pool time with Ron. Hopefully, Greasy. Wife and I probably going to the Gatlinburg show. Yeah, I wish I was playing that. I had fun doing Monsters on the Mountain some years ago. That was very cool to visit that area of Tennessee. Hopefully, it's warmed up a bit this past week. They've been through some shit, let me tell you, as a lot of you have been. I hope it's warming up for everybody out there. And another thing I kind of dealt with was we did have solo shows that turned into Pearcy or DeMartini shows. So not only did I, that was part of the thing, getting laid off, and then some of the gigs I did have on the books all of a sudden weren't gigs for me. So I've had to do different things, but I want to thank you guys, all those that have donated, because it's like busking. I'm busking on Friday nights here. Thank you for those of you that put 5 on it, or even tonight, anybody who buys a poster tonight. I got to keep talking about that tonight. The Fright Bite posters are in. And Dahlia Dark signed them. The Count signed them. So you'd have an autographed Fright Bite poster. Totally helps out the channel and the show. 40 bones. This take your phone and your phone camera on your phone and go ahead and zap this icon at the top right of the screen, and that should take you to my Venmo. I have a Venmo for my professional Erik Ferentinos or whatever, and I set up a $40 thing on there, and that covers, if you're in the United States, that covers your shipping. Right now I'm just kind of doing US on this. I mailed Steven one yesterday so I could get an idea how much it costs just to, just me shipping it in California was over $12. So that's why that has to do with the price on here. But really, you're definitely helping out Dahlia me and the channel when you get one. And it's a really badass poster. And if it does well, we'll do more cool posters like that. Okay. Spicoli, right in the coin purse. Yeah, I mean, there was the Kanikis, the coin purse. Man, lots of stuff. Stony Jackson, love a good cat fight. Man, I honestly, like, when Dahlia and her family showed up, I was like, whoa, she was ready. She was ready to go, like, full Betty Page pinup takedown. And I mean, I couldn't be happier for that, but I was like, I don't know, for some reason I just felt like the luckiest guy in the world or something. I'm like, am I I almost was going to send like some of the footage to Stevie Rochelle, like, look at what I'm doing this weekend. But I don't know. I didn't want to exploit the situation, but eventually I did obviously edit the show together, and you guys got to see it for yourself. And you got to see some behind the scenes action of her in my Beach Mansion West condo this week. Cracula equals Dahlia's bitch. Yeah. Well, actually it was I I know they have a similar complexion, but Berherneck is the one that was giving the beat down to Count Cracula. Dahlia is really Count Cracula's bodyguard in a lot of ways. I mean, it's been twice now. If you look back, and Operation Sunscream was the first time that we saw Berherneck, and she kicked the Count's ass on the beach, and Dahlia had to step in. And now this was the final takedown, but again, Berherneck got to Count Cracula and gave him noogies and kicked him in all these terrible places. And you can watch the whole episode on the lives there. But yeah, Dahlia actually saved the day with that. So Jim Martina, that was killer, Erik Ferentinos. Well, thank you, sir. I'm glad there are people that, Stoney and Jim, these people that really do love the show. And it's not like Dahlia's gonna leave. Like she said she doesn't care if there's 5 people watching the show, that she loves doing it. So even if there's only 5 of you guys that are there, we're still gonna do it. But I mean, I'm gonna complain about it just because of the work involved. Being from San Diego, you ever met or jammed with DeLong or Hoppus? Yeah, I didn't jam with them, but Blink 182 is from here, and we're the same age. And I've told this story before, but we both our bands at one point, when I was in Voodoo and they were Blink 182, we both rehearsed at a place called DML Rehearsal Studios in Escondido, California. And my friend Robbie might have a video of this, but I took his camera and I basically busted into Blink 182's rehearsal room just to make fun of them, because I thought they sucked, and that was mean of me. That was mean spirited. I've grown a lot as a human being since then, but I thought my band was all kick ass like Alice in Chains, and like walked in on them like, what are you guys up to? And they just looked like a deer in the headlights. They didn't have Travis Barker on the drums yet at that point, but the other 2 guys were there, and that was it. There wasn't too much to the story, but they were popular like with their high school. They just had a lot of friends, and there was an all ages venue that they used to play at downtown that always was very popular. And I don't know, next thing you know, they were streaking down the quad and naked, and they became huge. But now I'm like wondering about it when I look at these like military connections with them, with the whole alien and the UFO. I go, is this some kind of contrived thing again, where it's like not nepotism, but kind of like, or is this like the Beatles? Is this like a put together thing? Like, I don't know. I know they are from here, and I have seen them, and I did go in and they were at a rehearsal room. But then when I see these like high level military connection, I don't know. Maybe it's just the conspiracy guy in me that starts questioning things. Stony Jackson, I appreciate the grind that goes into the Fright Bite. Thank you, Stony. I mean, it could be better. I mean, one thing we decided to do was kind of dial back trying to do a movie every week like that. Like every month there'll be like 2 short movies, and then there'll be some teasers here and there. One new thing I think we're going to try this week is the Count asked Dahlia if she wanted to start an industrial band. So I think they're going to start a live band that will hopefully perform live, and start doing like music videos for that song. So that should be fun. They'll be like kind of somewhat spoofy, gothy, industrial songs. So kind of look for that. Maybe the first one will be coming out this coming Fright Bite. Shades Fading. Have you seen The Reflecting Skin? It stars Viggo Mortensen. It's about 1990-ish. Well, I'm gonna see it. That's super cool. Yeah, anytime you guys have something you want to suggest to me to check out, I'll check it out and let you know what I think about it. The Reflecting Skin. Where do I see that? Is that on Tubi, or how do I watch it? Let me know. Let us all know. Black Phillip, what up? What's up, everyone? Late to the game, so keep my delayed comments out. Okay, well, let me see. Greasy Nuts. Aha! An atomic veggie. Yeah. You know what's funny? Dahlia's younger than me, and some of this stuff she doesn't even know what it is. She didn't know what an Indian sunburn was. She didn't know what a noogie is. I had to teach her how to do a noogie. David Mills, what's happening, my friend? For the weed fund, is that what this is? Or all my super chats go to the weed fund? I can dig it. I'll buy some weed with it. Definitely. No, you know what I do? I pay bills with it. I pay StreamYard. I pay for the new computer, which I was able to do interest free through Apple. If you have their Apple credit card, you can like spread everything out over a year. That was pretty cool. So it's been like $100 something a month that it hits. And so far you guys have been helping with that and I appreciate it. And, between that and the StreamYard, I mean, we get it done, right? We're still here. We're still broadcasting. Dahlia actually, got this new awesome camera because my other camera took a crap and I was like, oh great. Now I got to go spend whatever amount on a camera. And she had one just set the next day. Like she's all serious about it. Jerome loves Disney. What's happening, Jerome? Dahlia loves Jerome. Hi, Eric. Hi, Jerome. How are things going in Orlando today? Jerome lives at Disney. He's his condo he lives at is on the premises, so he's living the Disney dream. He's a huge fan of Disney stuff. Pool time with Ron. Looking forward to checking out the videos. Yeah, we should be seeing some project videos here real soon. They came out really good. Dennis Hill from Face to Face, great band, great punk band. Dennis Hill was kind of the director of the day, and they called in a few favors from some friends. They had a drone guy doing like the drone footage. Dennis's daughter was on hand taking footage, and she's a great singer too. His daughter, Michael, and she performs live herself. So Michael Hill, look her up. She's got a creative. She has a good eye. Just she's like her dad. You know, it's pretty cool. I have a lot of respect for him and admiration and for her. And it was cool that she was there filming stuff too. And she got some great shots. And it's cool, man. The project's been a slow rollout, you know, because everybody's got the other things they're doing in their life. You know, Dennis is in Face to Face. I've been with Pearcy. Jimmy has a whole business he runs on this, you know, in his life. So it's just been slow, but it's going in the right direction. And some of these songs that we've written now, that they're not like recorded officially yet or anything, but we've written them and we're working on them, and they're really kick ass. Like I'm super excited about it. Hey buddy, Skojo's in the house, y'all. He was wanting me to give him like more updates. I really, Skojo, I didn't have any more updates for you, bro, than what I'm telling everybody here tonight, which is, you know, just letting you know how it went at the studio Friday when I wasn't here. It was working on Steven's 4 songs, and they're cool. Like when I first heard them, we were a little confused what they were going to be or how they were going, but they've been tightened up since, and like he had vocals on the one song Drive. And when I heard it with the vocals, it was stuck in my head for like a week. It's your typical Steven rock song. You know what I mean? That, just has this cool delivery of the verses, and I'm singing on it too. And Matt's got a cool voice too. Believe it or not, he had done some great vocals as well on there. So between the three of us and Bloss on the drums, we got it done. Down is up, Jerome. Happy Friday the 13th. Everybody's saying hi to everybody in the chat here. I love how we got a community going. We're unifying. Daddy Goth, Fright Bite is quite enthralling. I am enraptured. I love that. I just got goosebumps hearing that, because it's weird, because I know how I love it. Dahlia loves it. I know that some of you guys really love it. But it's interesting to me how some people are clearly really offended by the show, or they're leaving, you know, every week. And I don't know who it is or what their reason. Like, I almost feel like you should have to give a reason, like tell me, insult me and then leave. So at least I know what it was about. Down is up. I love Vampira. Yeah. I love horror aesthetics, you know, going back when I think about the 1970s, my mom, speaking of the moon landings, all right, I know I'm all over the place. When the moon, in 1969, when the moon landings were going down, my family had bought a black and white small TV just to watch that, at the restaurant they worked at or whatever. They wanted to have that there because they were super excited about this, momentous greatest achievement of mankind, allegedly. But we had that old black and white TV around, and one of my earliest memories from when I was like 4 or 5 years old is my mom maybe cooking in the kitchen or doing her thing, and she would have on like old monster movies. Would be on in we lived in New Jersey, and like in the late afternoon there'd be these like older monster movies from the 60s and the 50s, 60s, 70s that were on there. A lot of them were cheesy, but it was like just the whole aesthetic I found like fascinating. I mean, I was a little creeped out. Again, just like you guys, we watched a ton of shit we probably shouldn't have watched, but I'm seeing vampires getting impaled by, steaks, and it was like, whoa, what am I watching here? It's like, kids nowadays, I think parents know better than to show them stuff like that at a young age. But back then it was pretty much the Wild West, and we just watched it all, But I recall having like an easel, and I would draw the most, I love to take markers and draw scary looking monster creatures. I would try to make them as scary and as whatever. And it was a big easel, and I would draw like life-size monsters on there. That was a lot of fun for me. When I would go to the library at school, I would pull out any of the books that had like the Universal monsters, and I would, like the beginning of Fright Bite shows some of the clips. It's some of those old black and white laboratory stuff is from the Universal monster movies back in the day. I was surprised they didn't like ding me for that, but I'll change it if I have to. But so far they haven't said anything. But I used to like just look at the Mummy and Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein. She's in the beginning of my Fright Bite thing, and I used to just stare at that stuff, and it's been around my whole life. And then, when Elvira came out in the 80s, that was one of the few things my dad and I bonded with, which we were like father son. We both like big boobies, and we both like to watch Elvira, and we thought she was hilarious. Like when we moved from New Jersey, even though we had the Jersey accents, and we sounded ridiculous when we came out here, we thought that like Valley girls and stuff were like, oh my God, gag me with a spoon. And, we thought that was the funniest freaking thing. Like that movie Valley Girl, or that TV show Square Pegs. Have you watched Square Pegs? It had the chick from Sex and the City in it. But like, to me, I thought that was just the funniest thing. So, of course, Elvira definitely had a Valley Girl kind of vibe to her delivery and her comedy. And I loved that. So I guess that's just a part of who I am. It's a part of my whole life. And so when this came up to try to do some kind of Fright Bite thing, I don't know. It's just that's where it's coming from. And hopefully you guys had a similar kind of upbringing, and for those of you that did, you probably get it. If you didn't, you probably don't get it. But we're gonna keep doing it, even if this has been my strategy. Like I'll make a Fright Bite, and you guys stay with me. You guys love it. I'll lose like 10 people, 10 subscribers. So I'll go and I'll throw together a Stephen Pearcy road vlog, and then I'll get like 20 back. And so, but it's like, I want to hit that like 2,000 mark with subscribers, and I'm so close. You know what I mean? This happened pretty fast. I mean, it was just in September that I revved the channel up and went from having 100 people to almost 2,000. So now I'm getting a little, maybe I'm wanting too much. I don't know. It's been happening quickly, but then it's just kind of plateaued, and I'm like, how do I keep people involved and keep coming back to this? I'm just trying to do a variety. Down is up. I played the Wheel of Misfortune, and all I got was a rock. Yeah. I do have t-shirts here, and I have posters, and we did have like a variety of winners. Let me see. I thought I wrote down some of them here. Did I? I thought I did. I do have their names written down somewhere. Anyways, they're around. I have your guys. I know who won, and I wrote down what they won, but I feel like nobody's given me their address yet to mail it out. And we are going to get to a point where I have to do one of those disclaimers, like all radio prizes need to be claimed within a 30-day period. I can't have somebody 2 years from now asking for their werewolf Fright Bite poster. You know what I mean? Like, we're probably not going to have them. That happened with the guitar picks. I don't know if like Chris Aiken screwed up or something, but there's one gentleman that had paid for a guitar pick set, and Chris either didn't give me the money, or I don't know what happened exactly, but he didn't get his pick set. But I don't have those anymore. I have to make like new pick sets. So that this guy was super cool about it. And I will be making more Erik Ferentinos, guitar pick sets, whatever. I'm going to be doing that soon too. But I got to make more of those. Like, these things are all like limited edition. I don't reorder the same thing again. So this will be the only werewolf poster that there is for the Fright Bite, and it's the very first one, and it's autographed. That's worth $40. That includes the shipping and everything. You need to have this in your garage or wherever your man cave is. You need to have it up there. Jerome loves Disney. I love the Fright Bite, and we love having you at the Fright Bite. Dahlia loves having you at the Fright Bite. You guys are like our Addams family, Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. Ba-na-na-na, ba-na-na-na, ba-na-na-na. Anyways, one thing, I try to keep this all funny and positive, but last night I saw that my friend Amina is not doing good, and if you're any of you guys are monsters or rock cruisers, you might know Amina and seen her on those, and she has a girlfriend that she's super tight with, and I saw that she had posted on the Monsters of Rock Facebook group that Amina was probably not going to make it today and was in the hospital. And I was like, obviously I've known Amina for many years, and I was like, oh man, I hate hearing that. You know what I mean? When somebody that personally is having some medical issue. I did not know anything. I did not know that there was something, wrong with her. I thought I saw her on the Monsters of Rock cruise, maybe in 2024, but a prayer for her from you guys, because she is part of our scene, and I saw that last night. I was like, no. So I hope she pulls through. I hate hearing that kind of thing. Jerome Davis lives. I see you've met the twins. Yeah, she's met them. Anyways, good stuff. Spicoli's still throwing down. Thank you, sir. Dave Mills. Yeah, we got 3 super chats tonight. I'm digging it. Thank you so much. Greasy Nuts. Cracula is a smooth criminal with the gals. Well, that's the whole reason he learned an instrument, my friend, was to make sure that he did not die a lonely man. Let's see here. It's fun, Down Is Up says. It's kind of has that SCTV vibe. Yeah, I used to watch SCTV. That was like the Canadian SNL. And that's you're hitting right on stuff that I grew up, again, I'm 53, and that was just stuff that was on all the time. And I love funny stuff like that. Of course, even though Saturday Night Live has like sucked for like a decade now, Adam Sandberg was definitely, there's been some good breakthrough guys. Adam Sandberg has probably been the best thing to come out of SNL in a long time. That cop show he has is super funny. But just, in general, I grew up as you guys watching Saturday Night Live, as my parents did. And I try to incorporate a little bit of that. You know what I mean? It's the Fright Bite Live. It is like a Saturday Night Live, and there's skits, and there's stand-up comedy, and there's monologues, and it's gonna get better and grow and develop. But it's just, I think I bait and switched a lot of people. I think they're like all about Ratt and Stephen, and then when they see anything that isn't with him, they're like, I'm out of here. And you don't have to leave the channel. I'm still gonna put. That's just not. I don't want to say it's dumb or anything, but that's a little hasty, isn't it? You're going to throw away all Ratt stuff and Stephen Pearcy stuff because I put a Fright Bite thing up? That doesn't make sense to me, man. You're going to get it all. Just stay for it all. You don't have to watch the Fright Bite. It's okay. But watch my other stuff, Pearcy stuff, and share it. That 70s guy. How you doing, buddy? I never heard of that. Is it a generational thing? I must have missed what you're talking about. Oh, Sony Jackson, Johnny Carson did characters and skits all the time. They were awesome. Definitely, I'm spoofing podcasting, but I'm really it's definitely a late night spoof. You know what I mean? I definitely the Count is like a Johnny Carson, Conan O'Brien type setup. That's what this is, but I've just took the character a step further by actually like, something I had originally brought up with Chris Aiken was that I wanted to do, try to make our own shitty movie, because we were doing Fright Bite where we'd go on Tubi and we would watch a shitty movie, and then we wouldn't be able to leave it up because we would of course get hit with copyrights, trademark stuff, right? And I go, why don't we just make our own shitty movie? But I don't think I could get Chris to do that. I don't think I could get Chris to run around his house with a phone filming himself and making it, where like when I came to Dahlia with this, that was like right up her alley. And she is an actress. Like if you look up Dahlia Dark, she is like her wiki comes up and she is an actress. She was on Always Sunny in Philadelphia. She's been in Beyonce videos. She's made movies before. She's an actual movie star. So I really scored her coming into my life and everything that she's put into it, because this is a full independent thing. We're not signed to some movie company and on salaries. I mean, we pay for this stuff out of our own pocket. Second City TV. Down is Up. It was a comedy group based out of Canada. A lot of great comedians came out of that. Yeah, John Candy being probably was John Candy in that? No. Who were some of the other people that came out of SCTV? There was that one. There was that one fat dude with the black hair and the glasses too. I forget his name. Pearcy as a guest. Yeah, I bet you there would be a Friday night that Stephen would come on here. I feel like I didn't want him to like put him on the spot. I think that. I'll be honest with you guys, like full transparency. If it was up to Steven, I would be on that stage. And it's funny, when I saw him on Friday, he was like, God, he wants to have a whole stage performance. And he was like, of course, saying we're still going to do solo shows. And you mentioned doing some private gigs and whatever. But, it's just not up to him. You know what I mean? It was like, that was just, the things are the way they are because that's how it had to be to get Warren involved. And we all love Carlos. He's a part of that. But we joked, and I go, hey, well, why don't you add a third guitarist? You know what I mean? And for a second, he was thinking about it. I guess he was like, I go, hey, Iron Maiden has got a third guitar player. Hey, would it be cool? I'll just kind of be off to the side like the guy in Green Day. Like Green Day's got some extra guitar player in the band or something. I'm like, I could be in the back. I'll come out with a 12-string acoustic to play the Back for More intro the right way, or whatever. And I was kind of joking but serious, and I'm like, I'll do it. But I mean, that is ridiculous. That's not going to happen. But I was the guy that he wanted on second guitar. It's just a fact. But I didn't want him to come on here and be put on the spot and like knowing that our paths might go separately, for a little bit. And that kind of sucks in a way. But I don't know. It seems like it always comes back around to the solo band because it's just such an easier deal. It's easier to get gigs for it. He's the star of the show in that, and we're just all super easy peasy dudes to work with no demands whatsoever. And obviously you guys have seen me stuck between two people on Southwest Airlines or whatever it took to get there. I don't care. I'll get there. So it's obvious, for obvious reasons, the solo bands could probably work more than the other thing, but it's still important to the Ratt fans to get the closest thing that they could get, which is Stephen and Warren. And Warren, obviously such an iconic guitarist that influenced so many people. I want you guys to go see him and check it out. And then hopefully we get gigs too, so you can come party with me. Down is Up. Mr. Hand, if I'm here and you're here, isn't it both of our times?
What are you people? On dope?
It is both our times. Oh, I gotta have a sip of water here for a sec. I'm motor mouthing. Eternal Servant. What's happening, my friend? I like Jim Brewer's style of stand-up comedy. You can do your style. I often LOL with your humor here and there. Yeah, Jim Brewer's really come out against some of the evil Hollywood people, and he's kind of a not a I hate that word conspiracy theorist. You know, that term was brought up when John F. Kennedy was assassinated, because people were like, how the hell does that happen? They started like questioning it, and they were like, oh, you know, let's not have you know, conspiracy theories here, you know, about this. And they also did that, and George Bush was saying the same thing in 9/11, when you're watching these like two towers get vaporized, and you're like, how does that work? He's like, hey, let's not take the conspiracy theories. You know, that's just a word to make people sound nuts when they're like pointing out evil in the world. You know, oh, don't listen to that crazy person. He thinks a UFO's coming to get him, you know, or whatever. I mean, they pump out so much misinformation on purpose just to whatever. But anyways, I just thought it was interesting that Jim Breuer is able to say some of the stuff he says. You know, I'm like, wow, Jim, you're doing pretty good. I'm surprised you're risking your life like that. You know, but there he is. Sleepless Rocker, Jerome's Dizzy. Nah, replacing Dahlia with Wednesday 13 wouldn't be as entertaining. No, it would not. I can assure you that. Down is Up 76. Diamond Dave was a master of ceremonies. Yes, he was. Who else has something to say? Sleepless Rocker, that 70s. The Carrie book is crazy. Nightmares, man. Yeah, the movie Carrie was something else. It wasn't a feel good movie. That's for sure. Let me see. Yeah, Alice is the originator and the king of theatrical performances, even before Kiss. Yeah, he was. I really had a great time at that Alice Cooper Judas Priest concert recently, and I loved Alice's like whole backdrop thing. It reminded me of Disney. It reminded me of Disney Haunted Mansion. It had like it just looked like that ghostly kind of eerie thing, but then it was, I guess it was AI or whatever, but it had Alice at different stages of his careers, but it was like a moving picture. It was like him animated at different points in his career on the back screen. Did you guys see him this year? It was pretty badass. Oh, let me see. That 70s guy. I like his hits though, like Yankee Rose, just like Paradise Going Crazy and Just a Gigolo. Yeah, I was cool with those 4 songs, but if I could be honest, like I was a little disappointed in the Roth album itself. I don't know. I think that I think we were such like Van Halen maniac fans leading up to that they couldn't really do any wrong, you know? I mean, even 5150 had some amazing songs on it, but at the same time, a lot of it was like, I don't know, was not that great. You know, for considering how many millions and millions of copies it sold. It was a far cry from the earlier original, you know, edgy Roth, you know, songs. I loved it. I mean, when I was like 15 or 14, I was more like probably 14 years old when Sammy joined. I thought I liked it. You know what I mean? I didn't know it was Van Halen. I heard it on the radio, and I want to say I heard was it Why Can't This Be Love? Was that the first song? And I mean, at the time, it sounded pretty happening. I mean, keyboards were big, obviously, in the 80s, and it had the synthesizers, and Sammy had a great voice that we knew, and it just sounded like it was some new Sammy Hagar or something. That was my kid memory of it. But I was a huge Van Halen fan that had all the Roth records. I had all the vinyls, you know, leading up to that. So to me, I was like, I was okay with it, but I definitely saw how there was a big split with the older people that were like 10 years older than me, like who was going to go with the Roth and who went with the Sammy. I don't think it helped that Roth was like really getting, how do I put this in a, like some of his fashion choices were just kind of, that was the kind of thing that got taken out of the 80s by Nirvana, and that would probably be a good thing. You know what I mean? Some of that, I don't think anyone should ever really, I mean, I know Steel Panther does some of that now, but some of that should just stay in the 80s. You know what I mean? There's some of those looks with the leotards and the stretchy spandex that are just, they're never going to come back. That is never going to be cool. In my opinion, because at this point, here's the thing. It was at least its own thing at that point, but now you would just be cosplaying. Am I right? It's like, it's not organic anymore. You're basically just purposely dressing up like this fashion. You're just cosplaying a fashion from back in the day. But those looks like that Roth had on at that time should never come back. Should never. I mean, and then on the other side, you had the Van Halen guys wearing like MC Hammer pants, and they had wife beaters on. That was kind of cool, I guess. I mean, there needed to be a change, and they were on it. I think the Van Halen guys kind of changed in a more edible way. I don't know. That's not the right word I'm looking for. But Roth was just getting kind of weird there for a second. You know what I mean? I think Van Halen won that battle, at least album sales wise. But when I go back and I look at the live Eat 'Em and Smile tour of Steve Vai and Billy Sheehan playing live with Roth, it's freaking mind blowing. I mean, that was definitely way better than what Van Halen was doing live. Because that's when I started to finally see Van Halen. My first time seeing Van Halen was at the Monsters of Rock at the LA Coliseum. That was the first concert, and that was a crazy historical concert. Probably the biggest concert I've ever been to. The craziest concert I've ever been to. There was that, and then I saw them on the OU812 tour. And that was enough for me. I never really... the music had gotten kind of light, and by that point I was totally into Metallica and stuff, and I just kind of went on. I moved on. The only thing I thought was good after that was the song Pound Cake. I thought was pretty cool when they came back with that at the MTV Awards or what have you, but they kind of lost me in a way, and I don't find myself ever going back and listening to the Sammy era stuff very often. Like, if anything, I go back to kind of like studying what Ed was doing on guitar the earlier days. I just recently got the all the guitar IK Multimedia Van Halen guitar tones and everything of the early days just to have. And I've been having fun going through all those. That 70s guy's only 23? Wow, that's if that's true, well, that's cool. We're just reaching everybody. Tika's, I'm 10 months younger than you, Eric. So yeah, same age, more or less. Yep. Cinderfox 52 here. How was studio time last week with Steven? Seen Steven post a few pics with you there. Yeah, it was super cool. I hadn't seen Pearcy. I hadn't seen him since, I want to say I hadn't seen him since September of last year. So I didn't even know he was going to be there right when I walked in, but he was there, and it was cool. You know, they saw me. I lost some weight since they last saw me. I looked like somebody joked that I looked like I just got out of the pen or something. It was kind of funny, but I love Steven so much, and Matt. You know, it's like those are the kind of people, like, you could go. It'll never be years that I go without seeing them, but they're the kind of people when you see each other, it's just all the same. It doesn't have to be a big to-do. Everything just picks up where it left off. Down is up. Don't get me wrong. There was some great music in the 90s, but not compared to the 70s and the 80s. No, I mean, I think the most timeless songs came from probably the 70s and the 80s as far as being the most timeless. I feel like most of the dance hits don't even have the length. They're not going to go the length that like the disco songs even went back in the day. What'd you guys think of Super Bowl? That was interesting, right? I know that was a big controversy. Bad Bunny. I was kind of familiar with Bad Bunny from when I was doing rideshare. You know, there was like, you know, when Steven and Juan were doing the Rat thing in like 2018, 2017 even, 2017, 18, 19, I had to survive, and I dove into the gig economy, and I was like, a friend of mine co-signed for a car for me, and I was out doing rideshare, and I got XM radio, and for my area where I live, Oceanside, I found that the Pitbull channel on XM suited the demographic of where I live the best, especially if it was people under 40 that I was giving rides to, which they predominantly use those sorts of platforms more, I found, or like the younger generations. I mean, older people do. I mean, for the gimmick of it, they'll take a Lyft or an Uber to out to dinner because they're going to have a drink or something, but they don't need to. You know what I mean? They don't use it as normally as younger people do. I don't even know what I was talking about with that. I got a little lost for a second. I'll probably come back with me. Oh no, I was talking about Bad Bunny. So anyways, that's where I first started hearing Bad Bunny and stuff. So I'm familiar with the music. I really do like the beats of those bands. That just that Latin groove is super cool. I really don't know what he's saying. I mean, he doesn't have much range, vocally. I mean, he's just kind of like, I mean, he might as well be an auctioneer or something. You know what I mean? How to do an auction in Spanish, But I get it. Like I don't hate it or anything. If somebody had a Bad Bunny song on, I wouldn't be like, well, I got it off. I like I said, the beat itself is, I get it, and you could dance to it. It's sexy and stuff. I didn't really know. I picked up on a couple things he was talking about. I mean, I heard him mention a lot of girls' names and stuff. I just figured it was a song about bragging about his macho-ness or whatever. I thought they certainly filmed it really cool. Like that was a interest. The first time I've seen a performance at the Super Bowl like that, where they kind of made their own private jungle or something, like off to the side of the field, and just the way they filmed it was pretty impressive. I'm always impressed with rap artists that just the sheer amount of dialogue they have to like remember compared to like your typical rock song that might have 2 or 3 verses in it, but the choruses are the same and the pre-choruses are always the same. It seems like rap songs, you have to like be able to remember a lot of shit, like to do something like that. And even a performance like that, to even if he was lip syncing or not probably lip syncing, I don't know. But just to hit all your marks, you know what I mean? I don't know how much rehearsals went into that, but that's impressive to me. Like, I'm not somebody who's going to poo-poo something like that. I mean, I was entertained by it. I felt kind of weird watching. I'm like, what am I watching here? But I mean, I don't know. People shouldn't get, racist about it or whatever. It's like America is a big melting pot, and we should respect most of all of our cultures. You know what I mean? I don't want to have like a Sharia law Super Bowl, you know what I mean? But I mean, anybody's culture that isn't oppressive, we should celebrate. How's that? That's about, I guess I'll just leave it there. Let me see. Greasy Nuts. I was listening to the 80s bands and grunge at the same time. Yeah, I pretty much was. I mean, honestly, I there was grunge I liked, and then it was that or like heavy shit is what I was kind of listening to. I did actually in the 90s, I'd have to say there was other bands I was into. I liked industrial music. I loved Nine Inch Nails. I had a girlfriend that liked PJ Harvey, and she kind of got me into PJ Harvey. I thought her albums were good. Jane's Addiction. I was a big Jane's Addiction fan when I was young. The band Dig. Do you guys know who that band is? Dig. Actually, I ended up getting to know the singer through my friend Charlie, who played in Voodoo. But those were things I liked. And then, of course, the 90s, we were talking earlier, Stone Temple Pilots and Alice in Chains. I like that kind of stuff. But I guess we maybe needed a break, for a minute from all those, the rock bands of the 80s. But then we missed it. And by the 2000s, by I don't know. What do you think? 2005 or 7, people are like, bring it back, bring it on back, reorder it all. And now these bands have continued to like have a career that, seemingly doing better than the 90s bands. I mean, the weirdest thing about the 90s bands is like maybe they didn't care so much about their looks or their image, but it kind of shows. Like they look fucking old. I'm sorry, but like a lot of these bands, I'm like, oh my God, guys, come on. I mean, I'm not a kid anymore. I'm in my 50s. You know what I mean? But I don't look like a 70-year-old man. I don't get it. Jerome Davis. I listen to glam metal and grunge and pop punk. Cool. Check out Pump 5. Maybe you'd like some of the Pump 5 songs, Jerome. You never know. And the project actually has some kind of a little bit of pop punky kind of vibes. One of the videos we did, Best Days, kind of reminds me of that. The Outshine video was badass. Greasy Nuts says, you know which one? Black Hole Sun video from Soundgarden. Like back then, I was doing a lot of LSD and acid. Oh my god, that is not a video you want to put on when you're frying on acid. Dale Groot. Totally biased opinion, but Alice in Chains was the best band to come out of the 90s. Loved Jerry's solo stuff too. Yeah, they were definitely like, I don't want to call them the Led Zeppelin of our generation or anything, but they were something else. I mean, they were dark though. You know what I mean? There was nothing happy about those guys. I mean, I'm trying to think if they had one song that could even be considered uplifting in any way. But it was, you know what they were? They were kind of like the Heart, the band Heart of our generation. Nah, maybe not. I was thinking that just because they had two singers in it. But Heart had a bunch of fun, whatever songs that were just rock songs that weren't all dark. Pool time. I'm 49. We'll be 50 in December. Hair metal's the music I grew up on and still do. I love all that stuff for the guitar work on it. Like, I didn't gravitate to punk music so much when I was in high school because I thought all the guitars sucked. I thought it sucked. I thought the recording sounded like shit. And, obviously in the 90s, they kind of revamped it. Pop punk became a thing and they kind of gave these bands better, Blink-182, they all had better recordings and everything that kind of some 41 that helped move it along. But when I was young, like if it was punk, it had to sound like shit. It all sounded like it was like recorded on a boombox and just was really awful. There was some, there was a few exceptions. I mean, the Sex Pistols album, there was a lot more going on with that. Never mind the Bullocks. I mean, that was an amazing sounding record for its time. That actually didn't sound very punk rock compared to like the stuff I remember hearing from actual punk rock bands. Anyways, let's see what else. Down is Up. Yeah, I saw Soundgarden a bunch and they opened for Guns on the Illusion tour. Laney from Alice in Chains. Yeah, Van Halen used to have Alice in Chains open up for them a lot because they could kind of sense that they were losing the newer audiences and started going, hey, we need to grab one of these new bands and take them on the road. And I think that that worked out fine. I mean, Alice in Chains was a big radio band. They were probably one of the heaviest radio bands that there were at the time. I met all the Alice in Chains guys when I was working for Kiss. Were they cool? Or I've never, I have not had the pleasure of meeting Jerry Cantrell. But I mean, he seems like a totally cool dude. That would be a good hang. Too bad I don't play like poker. I hear he's a guy who like hosts like poker night at his house. That would be kind of fun. Although they probably all smoke cigars, and I hate that shit. Jerome, I don't know why people say Soundgarden was what? Perhaps Courtney took the fall for Dahlia. Yeah. What do you guys think? Courtney Love, do you think she has anything to do with it? Obviously, I know she's not the one who blew his head off. You know what I mean? But I mean, there was a lot of drug addicts. There's a lot of drugs in their scene. You know what I mean? And even when I watched that documentary, they have this one of the druggy friends he interviews. And I almost feel like Courtney paid that guy off to come in and say that he never heard that Kurt was going to divorce her and all that stuff. He seemed like he was lying. Do you guys know what documentary I'm talking about? The Kurt and Courtney one, where it like interviews allegedly, Kurt's best friend, and he says that he's never heard Kurt say he was gonna get a divorce. Like, I don't think that's true. That sounds like Courtney Love. I'm just guessing. I'm totally making shit up right now, but I bet you she paid him off or gave him a bunch of meth or heroin to say that. If she was asking so many questions about the documentary already, what makes you think she didn't make sure she sent here, interview this guy, who basically says no. I mean, Courtney's own father sits there and tells you, yes, Court was going to leave her, and here's why. She was banging Billy Corgan, and she was banging this guy, and she was banging that. I mean, she was cheating on him. Okay, so yeah, he was going to fucking leave her, Let me see. Down is up. The original Stone Temple Pilots were awesome. Yes, they were. Down is up. The best thing for me, far from Soundgarden, was Chris. Yeah, Chris Cornell. I really like what they were doing with the Rage Against the Machine guys. Like, that music was like super promising. The 70s guy. I appreciate Chris's voice, but their music isn't really my thing. Yeah, well. T-Cuz King Buzzo says looking at Courtney Love naked is like staring at the sun. She's had some work done. She's got some work done. You know, she was actually like a decent actress. She did that Larry Flint movie, The People versus Larry Flint. I thought she was really good in that. I think she got a taste of the acting fame and kind of set her sights a little higher. I don't know. We don't see her very much anymore, like out doing much, but she has all that Nirvana money. Rat and Roll, Daytona Weekend. Let me see. Down is up. He had a really bad intestinal problem, really painful. Yeah, but I heard he took care of it. That he got treatment for it. You know, he had that rock star money and they figured it out. Like, I know they tried to paint it like, oh, he was this miserable guy. He was in pain all the time. And no, there was more to it. You know, he actually, you know, was in utero, was out. He was like a big dude, big time dude. He was starting to enjoy some of that stuff, his fame, and he got medical treatment. And I don't know what his drug situation was, but when you realize how much heroin was in this guy when his head was blown off, there's no way he would have been dead from the heroin, you know what I mean, let alone be able to blow your head off. So they're reopening the case. That's what I know. He and let's see, Greasy Nuts, her and Kurt were music snobs who shit on hair bands and pretended to be above it all. You know, most of the punk people do. I was a victim of that myself because, again, as I was saying earlier, I didn't play punk music because I thought the guitar sucked in it. So I was playing more rock stuff. And I remember the punks because I went to Sunset, which was like a bad kid high school. And I remember how disappointed they were in me. They were actually like they would make fun of me for playing that stuff. And they would heckle me if I was playing a backyard party or something. And I do remember that's just how punks are. And they're like that to this day. They all pretend like they don't have photos of themselves wearing spandex and makeup at some point. They totally all do. They all have pictures of themselves dressed up like Kiss. They're just full of shit. I mean, the punks have better style. I'll give them that. Like, I love the punk aesthetic and style. And I even, you know, dress that way and that way sometimes. I prefer the punk look over the spandex look, you know what I mean? Down is up. I only saw Nirvana once when they played Roseland in New York before they hit it big. Okay, yeah. Let me see. Down is up. Lane was a really nice guy. Literally saw him less than a month before he died. I thought he was all just in his apartment, just playing video games. And how did you see him a month before he died? What's going on? Daddy Goth, if you don't like him, I don't like you. Because they can't all be Keith Richards functioning on smack. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know anybody who's continued. Every artist I know that was like on the needle died. You know, maybe if they smoked it, they were able to get away from it. But eventually, it'll kill you. You'll get a hot dose. Let me see. Pool Time with Ron. 2025 was rough. Hulk, Ozzy, and Ace. It's funny how the music takes you back in time for sure. It is. Our brains are time machines. And there's definitely a connection with music, even when they've worked on people with Alzheimer's and stuff. There's something about music that they can still make a connection through. And that to me is like this, having like dementia or Alzheimer's is like the worst. I mean, getting old sucks, but like to have an early, onset dementia or something is scary, a scary thought to lose your mind. I mean, it's one thing to have to accept looking in the mirror and looking at, a wrinkled up old person, but as long as you have your mind, you can enjoy life. You know what I mean? But if you don't even know who you are or what you're doing in a room, that's no thank you. I mean, that's why I was pretty transparent, but like I noticed after my heart attack, they put me on a statin and they put me on the highest milligrams of this, 80 milligrams of atorvastatin, 80 mil. And I was wondering why I was so out of it all the time. And like, I finally, I go a couple months ago, I just decided I'm not going to fucking take these anymore. I lost 25 pounds. I'm just trying to like, take my cholesterol down through diet and exercise. Even though the doctor's like, you'll never do that. This is better for you. No one's ever gotten their cholesterol as low as this'll take it. But at what cost if I get a dementia from it in 10 years or 20 years? I mean, even 20 years from now, I'd be 75. I mean, my mom's 77. She doesn't look like she's going anywhere anytime soon. Like, I can expect to live past 80 years old if nothing bad, you know, I get a car accident or something. I really don't take any chances in my life otherwise. I basically don't even leave the house. I've passed the torch with going out and taking risks and partying and everything. Yeah, 2025, a horrible, miserable year. Lost too many friends, idols. It sucked. Yeah, James Vanderbeek kind of bummed me out. You know what I mean? He was, you know, we knew him from Dawson's Creek. I didn't really watch Dawson's Creek. I was a little old for that, but I've seen him do some funny stuff. I thought the stuff he did with Jay and Silent Bob was like, I like when actors, you know, show that they have a sense of humor outside of things, and that made me dig him. And he was a very James Vanderbeek was very courageous. I mean, I really feel for his family and his daughters, and you know, seeing some of his videos he put out while he was battling this cancer the last 2 years. Very brave individual, and it was sad to see that. Definitely, what it was a real bummer. Eddie was great. He was definitely magical, an incredible, nice guy. Down is up is saying. Joe's a phenomenal guitar player too. Is that Joe Perry, Joe Satriani? There are a lot of Joes out there. Down is up. Streaming killed the music business, in my opinion. Yes, it did. Let me see here. Black Phillip. Yeah, you mentioned Conan and whatnot. Remember Space Ghost Coast and on Adult Swim? Yes, I like that. What's the other one that I like? God, what was that show with the fries and the soda drink? Super Team, whatever. I forget the name of it. Help me out. It was on Adult Swim, but that cartoon was funny. I mean, when I was on the road with Steven, I'd be up really late. You know what I mean? So like, that would be the channel I would put on after the gig. When I get back to my hotel room and I'm just getting baked in my room and eating whatever food, I would just put on Adult Swim and have that on until I, you know, go to sleep. So all those kind of shows I watched. Down is up. I don't want to go to the moon. I want to go to Jendal. Go reunite with Ace Frehley. Yeah. Greasy Nuts is saying, remember Man on the Moon by REM. Yeah, it's funny. It's like, if you believe we put a man on the moon, they're being sarcastic. And that's not the only time REM's like, drop some hidden truths. The other one is the song Stand. If you ever pull out I'm sorry, I'm like getting all. The song Stand by REM is like a total flat earth song. You're like, what? No, but it is. It's a flat earth song. You know what? I'm going to pull up the lyrics just so I don't F it up right now. Let me see. REM Stand lyrics. Okay, here we go. REM writes a flat earth song. Stand in the place where you live. Now face north. Think about direction. Wonder why you haven't before. Now stand in the place where you work. Now face west. Think about the place where you live. Wonder why you haven't before. If you are confused, check with the sun. Carry a compass to help you along. Your feet are going to be on the ground. Your head is there to move you around. So stand in the place where you live. Now face north. Think about direction. Wonder why you haven't before. I mean, we don't think about a lot of things, and then it's pointed out and you go, oh shit. You find out you were probably lied to. What's all this I don't want to talk about some of these people you guys got in here right now, man. Oh, I gotta go eat some dinner. Oh yeah, Greasy Nuts says pre glasses Cracula. Yeah, the poster definitely is the old Cracula on there, which he's gone through a little bit of character development. Like, looking back, he's definitely come a long way. It kind of reminds me of other character developments that have happened in movies and whatever cartoons, where the original you see in something from the first season and it looks off. You're like, oh whoa, that's not the outfit Batman has now. Basically, last year the Count had to join the hair club for vampires and got a hair system, and he just digs it, and it raised his whole game up, and so he just felt like he was more accepted by the masses with hair than with just a mohawk or baby hawk or whatever. So that is the old one. Like, posters down the road will have the Count as we know him now. But again, this is a special one. This is like Fright Bite Origins. I don't know. The coolest thing on it's the werewolf for sure. It's just that it's from the first episode of the Fright Bite. So that's what makes it special. So it's something I think that the people that love the show should have at their house, and there'll be more to come. Black Phillip, and rest in peace to the Three Doors Down guy too. Never heard much aside from the singles, but what a bummer. Know people who met those guys and say they couldn't have been more laid back and normal cats. Yeah, I mean, I totally feel the same way as you, Black Phillip. I was sad to see the Three Doors Down because he was so nice. I mean, of course they had those radio hits, but anytime I watched a video of him talking, he just sounded like a total down-home Christian guy. You know what I mean? Who's just wants to help people and whatever. And I mean, he had a horse ranch, and it sucks, man. It cancer is a mofo, and there's something up with all this. I don't want to go down that road, but everybody's gotta keep an eye out for that stuff. Unique Davis, what's up, girlfriend? Hi, guys. There she is. And Daddy Goth is a stalker. Is he stalking you? I mean, he seems all right. I hope you guys can all get along with each other. And, when you're here, just instead of focusing on your differences, you guys focus on the things that you agree on. And just kind of keep it there. Hey, do you like me? Do you like the Fright Bite? Hey, well then we can all agree on that. I mean, arguing over other people's shows isn't. What does that have to do with Erik Ferentinos Unleashed besides nothing? St. Grimes, can't wait to see you in the Pearcy solo band in Iowa this year. Saw you guys at the Surf Ballroom last year. Awesome. Yes, I am super excited, man. When I come out and take the stage with Stephen Pearcy again, I said it before, I'm coming for blood, man. I'm going to give you a show. Will Fancoli return? It's very possible. I mean, right now, Fancoli's not dead. He's at the lab. They have him. They're interrogating him. Dahlia Dark actually tortured him to find some information the other day. Sleepless Rocker. I think Dahlia's great on Fright Bite. She shouldn't be replaced. No. You never have to worry about that. It's either going to be me and Dahlia or nothing. Black Phillip, and anyone who's interested, look at the death of Hole's bassist Kristen Plaff. Ooh, talk about suspicious circumstances. I will look into it more. I mean, I know she overdosed, right? If I'm not mistaken. But it's oh, it sucks, man. I mean, even I think in Scott Weiland's band, one of the bass players overdosed and died also. Who we got here? Steel Corner. Hey, Eric, looking forward to the Rat and Roll with you in a couple locations this summer. Yep. And I will be sharing them with you guys. Everywhere I go with Steven, I'm going to definitely show it. Down is up. Well, it's Friday the 13th. We're doomed. We're all doomed. Yes, that was also that's from the movie. I think he's talking about the movie Hysterical, which is was one of my favorite movies where they were just spoofing monster movies up till that time. But they kept saying there's the crazy guy kept riding down the street going, "You're doomed, you're doomed," and then everybody that got bit by the zombies all would say the same thing. They would go, "What difference does it make? What difference does it make?" And it's like the same still holds true. You know what I mean? A lot of people are just here and they don't care either way. My current favorite new song is Name in Blood by Black Label Society. Zach sounds great. Yeah, he's a legend. Steve Leslie. Hey, Eric, I have how many songs will be on the Pearcy record you are doing? Well, I'm going to play on all of them, but so far I put 6 that I put up there, but I have a lot more, and I will be, I'm sure I'll put another probably 2 or 3 up there as well with him, but 4 of them Steven wrote. I play on them, but they're his songs that he wrote, and I just kind of came in and Matt walked me through it, and I why do I have this thing still on the stage? Sorry, I'm gonna come back. Oh man, I know it's getting late. Congrats, Jerome. I'm gonna start looking for more specific questions here. Okay. Kevin Smith says, Hail and King, any CMS gang? Anyone? Down is up. Love horror films. I saw Dawn of the Dead when I was 12. Yeah, I was the same age. My dad had Dawn of the Dead on VHS tape, and wow, it was another one that kind of effed me up watching it, but I, forever will, be into the whole thing. I just found a picture of me kind of dressed up like Dawn of the Dead zombie with the fangs and everything when I was 12. Alrighty. Was that Elvira? Elvira, the Oak Ridge Boys was the sizzle. Yeah, T-Cuz. Down is up. Did you see Elvira on The Fall Guy? I don't know if I saw that episode. Adonis, what's happening, my man? My older cousin had HBO. Hard Bodies and Hard Bodies 2 were the first. Yeah, and then there's like trying to watch the Playboy channel with all those curvy lines. You're like, there would always be that 1 second where you'd see some titties for like 5 solid seconds, and it was worth the wait. Hell yeah, Greasy, I'm going to the Living Dead convention in Pittsburgh at the mall this June. Oh, that's rad. Down is up. In Pittsburgh, huh? Is that where they shot the Dawn of the Dead at? I'm trying to remember where they did shoot it, obviously, at a mall. I think at the time it was one of the biggest malls in the area at the time. They've built bigger ones since, but let me see. What does this say? Y'all should sell the Matt Thorne Jazz Fusion CD, autographed by Cracula. Back the funk up. Yeah, I don't know if Matt would. He texted me. I don't even know. He said something here. What he said. Oh, I see what he's saying. That's funny. I thought Matt was giving me shit about something, and I'm like, I was gonna end the show just to see what it was. Well, he was totally not. He just said something funny to me. I love Matt. Anyway, I've joked about that when one thing that was so true I thought was kind of spot on as far as my take on working with Matt up in the studio. It reminded me, remember when you were a kid and you had Legos and you found somebody else to play Legos with? You're like, hey, do you want to build this Lego building with me? Yeah, let's build it. And it's like, and when I'm in there working with Matt, like we never like disagree about anything. It's like so cool. You know what I mean? I mean, he's the professional, you know what I mean? As far as in the laboratory, he's the main guy that's pushing all the buttons and all that. And I like it because then I could just sit there and just be the musician or whatever. But we have these ideas. He's like, it needs this. And I'm like, how about that? He's like, yeah. And now this. And like, if I'm doing maybe something a little off, his knowledge of music theory is so advanced that, you know, he can always make sure if something's right, or he can pick up a guitar and kind of find a different note I should put in or not play or something like that, which is cool. And I think, you know, even though maybe I'm not at his level of theory or whatever, he knows that I have something where I can just, I'll just fart it out. I don't even know what I'm doing, but he knows it's brilliant or whatever. And I know he does. All right. The Information Society, Daddy Goth. Yeah. They had I wanna know what you're thinking. Is there something on your mind? Right? They did that one. That's a badass song. John Candy is a legend. Great Outdoors, favorite movie. I love The Great Outdoors too. Daddy Goth, you would call and ask a question and get an answer, hence the name Information Society. Oh, well, Unique thought that was interesting. Steve Lasley, yeah, Fright Bite is cool. Watch them all. It'll get better. I mean, you guys are right at the beginning of this. That's why believe me, if this was a famous show that's been on for 3 years, I wouldn't need anybody's help. But it's like, we're Dahlia and I are alone outside in the cold. We need you guys to help bring us into people's homes, man. We cannot do it without you. If you guys don't share the videos, maybe you're not doing it because you only want it to be your little party. I get it. That's how I was with Metallica. I liked when Metallica was our little band, and then the Black Album came out, and I was like, fuck these guys. You know what I mean? They went huge. You know, I'm like, I want it when it was just us that watched it. Maybe that's what's happening here. Oh, okay. Yeah, these are the SCTV. Adonis says John Candy, Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, rest in peace. Rick Moranis, Martin Short, Dave Thomas. Yeah, Catherine O'Hara was also a surprise death, man. Seeing that, it was like, I really, I've of course enjoyed all her movies, and you know, she's just done excellent acting like this year. You know, so it's weird when I'm watching somebody on TV and then they're dead. Love that clip. Hysterical, Mr. Hand. Yes. Okay. Well, you know, it's
What are you people? On dope?
Yeah, I know that, dude.
You gotta love Fast Times. Down is up. Yeah, I like Sammy, but I love David for me. As long as Eddie was there, that's all that mattered. And that's true, man. At the end of the day, it was all about Edward Van Halen. Eternal Servants coming in to help out a little early for us. Happy Valentine's Day to Dahlia, Eric, Susan, his gangs. Last but not least, Stephen Pearcy from a keyboard warrior from Japan. Thank you so much. We love you, Eternal Servant. And yeah, Valentine's Day. I mean, I don't really have any plans. I might. Vaughn's Supermarket's doing a deal on T-bone steaks, and I think I might have it's $9 a pound at Vaughn's if you have their card. And I think I'm going to pick up some steaks and eat them by myself. No, I don't know. Susan's going out with her girlfriend or something. Let me see. Pool time with Ron. Hot and Shake, killer tune from Diamond Dave was the party guy and Sammy was the ballad guy. I liked when they Me Wise Magic. I thought that was kind of a cool thing. I thought that was cool when they came back out with that. Daddy Goth was singing. Oh, here we go. Steve, as I saw Dave DLR Eat 'em and Smile tour at the Toledo Sports Arena. Vi, Sheehan were a killer con. Yeah, you guys can watch some of that on YouTube, and it's freaking amazing. You know what's kind of amazing? Sin Crazy Gary. I don't know if he's in here tonight, but he's getting Billy Sheehan to play on the song that we worked on. He's like, I don't know. That's kind of interesting. I think that's why I took a long time to give it to Gary, because I was like, well, I better clean this up for him, if he's gonna give it to Billy frickin' Sheehan. Oh, what are you doing, Charlie Cat? Come here and say hi to everybody for Valentine's Day. What's up, girlfriend? You gonna wish everybody happy Valentine's Day? No? She's being shy tonight. All right. Down and up. I really wish they'd have rock and roll bands. Nothing against Bad Bunny, but that was awful, to be honest with you. Yeah. Well, we're getting old, you guys. I mean, I guess looking back, they've always kind of done something. They've always had like a big, huge, iconic band and then like a newer act. I mean, they usually like bring in a couple people and like it's almost like Xanadu, the movie Xanadu. Like they just mix it all together into this crazy performance that usually has multiple, which they kind of did. I mean, Lady Gaga showed up in that, right? She had her little moment. I don't know. Okay, we're getting all the Bad Bunny stuff here. Not a fan of Bad Bunny or Kid Rock. Yeah, Kid Rock. He's been a part of some cool recordings. I got to play with Kid Rock years ago. He owned a club in Michigan and near Detroit, and this was like when I first joined the Stephen Pearcy band in like 2001, and he was there, and Stephen was pretty partied up. But he invited Kid Rock on stage, and I just remember that was like a taste of just, I mean, I really do feel like I made it like 25 years ago when I joined the Pearcy band, even though I don't have platinum records on the wall and I don't have really much money to speak of. I still felt like that living the dream kind of thing. Like there I was on tour with Stephen Pearcy in a tour bus. Kid Rock is walking on stage and playing Sweet Home Alabama with us. And I mean, I was having the time of my life, even though I realized looking back that we all had problems with alcohol, like we're partying too much. And I mean, I was having the time of my life, but I'm glad I lived it up because now I can be responsible, and I don't even drink when I go out and do those Pearcy shows now. I mean, I'm not on anything. Maybe some, whatever, some weed or something, but that's it. Let's see. Ticas, Los Lobos is the shiz, as well as the Texas Tornadoes. Oh, yeah. Man, I've got to a point where there isn't much I don't like, After you live long enough, you kind of learn to you get a taste. You start to get a taste for everything. And pool time. I pled the fifth on the halftime show. Well, I didn't hate it. I mean, I don't hate Bad Bunny. I mean, he's interesting. I mean, I also like when, one thing I like about Bad Bunny, just as far as his image, is that he kind of looks like a normal kind of guy. Like he's not trying too hard or whatever. And he's got to this level of fame. It's just, it almost seems more realistic. It's not as phony. Pitbull was another. I really thought Pitbull was decent. Like I mean, as far as like if I was to compare who I like more, Pitbull or Bad Bunny, I think Pitbull has better songs. What do you guys think? I can't really tell you how a Bad Bunny song goes, but maybe that could be because Spanish isn't my first language, and maybe Bad Bunny's songs could resonate more to a Spanish speaker. K-pop has taken over too, 70s guy, says Jerome. Yeah, I mean, 70s guy doesn't get K-pop. I mean, I don't. Is that like, what was the one, a Korean guy? It was, he doesn't count, right? What was that song that was a huge hit a couple years back? I can't remember this stuff. Hey, sexy lady. Sleepless Rocker. Jerome Davis loves Dizzy. K-pop playing Super Bowl next. I feel like, the people that can afford to go to the Super Bowl are usually like people over 40. So they usually pick bands that are at least, from their generation. Like, you're not going to see some young kid band that the young kids like at Super Bowl. That's not who the demographic is. John Evans. I mean, they had Green Day. Did you see that Green Day like opened the thing? I mean, that was interesting. John Evans. Speaking of Cantrell, I got his custom wine red Les Paul a few months ago and love it. Great neck and pickups are cool for a novice anyway. That is cool. Was that the his Epiphone guitar? The Epiphone has some models that are pretty decent. They're more expensive ones, you know. They're the Epiphones that are like in the $800 range start to be pretty good as far as potentially playing it on stage or taking it on the road. Jerome Davis says, America failed to make good modern music now that everyone is listening to K-pop. No, the good music's out there. It's just, I mean, you got to dig through more stuff. But there is good music out there. Will you find it in time that these people could have a career? That's the question. Down is up. Yes, Jerry is awesome. He took the time to show me and let me play one of his guitars. They actually got the gig at Tiger Stadium when Stone Temple Pilots had to bow out because of Scott's addiction. Oh, it's heavy. I've played shows with Stone Temple Pilots. Do you want to touch me? No. When they first came out, that was like 1994, around there. The band I was in San Diego, Voodoo, we played with all the national acts that came to town. We were like really hooked up with the radio station, and Stone Temple Pilots had Sex Type Thing was the only song I think they had out. Maybe Interstate, I'm not sure, love song. But they were playing a club that's not even around anymore. It was in Pacific Beach. It was called Club 860. And we opened the show. I loved the song, but he was a mess. Like, Scott Weiland was a mess at that show. I didn't think he was even going to perform. They were throwing buckets of water on him to revive him. And I was like, oh, this guy's... I met Dean DeLeo earlier today. He really liked our band. He came out of the bus to check us out and say hello. And Andy introduced me to him. And I thought he was a homeless guy because he came out with barefoot. Pacific Beach had like a homeless, a lot of homeless teens and stuff. And I mean, he was old. Dean was older than me. I don't know how old he is now. He's probably in his 60s, but I just remember thinking, who's this homeless guy? And then Andy's like, this is Dean from Stone Temple Pilots. I was like, oh, hey, I mean, I knew they were going to be huge. Travis Peebler bass. Courtney's got ties to CIA. Does she? That's pretty interesting. Yeah, because they really took control of that whole thing. I mean, I just kind of assumed she paid off all the people she had to, but I mean, there's people that went bankrupt investigating that. If you watch that Courtney thing, I mean, it's interesting that that's getting reopened now. But then again, I've heard conspiracies that that was a whole stage death for him. That there was a lot of goofy stuff when you look at the crime scene. Like, there's a weird, like a three-legged stool in the scene. Like there's a three-legged. Either that's photoshopped or, like, why did Kurt have a three-legged stool? Anyway. Let's see. Travis, Kurt was leaving her and trying to get clean. She was terrible to him. Yeah, she was cheating on him. She was messing with him. And I think, Courtney's dad, you watch that Kurt and Courtney documentary, he tells you straight up he was going to leave her. And she went, oh, no, you ain't. And did whatever she had to do to, El Duce was a punk rock guy in that scene, and he claims, even though he talks a lot, makes up a lot of shit apparently, but he claims that she did approach him about taking Kurt out, and then he ended up getting killed. He got killed by a train. So Steel Corner thinks El Duce did it. Well, that would wrap things up nicely, wouldn't it? Have him do it and then throw him in front of a train and no one's going to believe him anyway because he's a big shit talker. I mean, that's interesting. You think that guy's capable of not only murdering somebody but murdering someone that talented? I mean it's one. I don't know what there's different motivations for taking someone's life. There's those random robberies, gone wrong. There's serial killers. There's crimes of passion. There's the forensic file. Yeah, there's the divorce thing. Like that one I see very often where either the most times the husband does not want to give the woman half his shit. You know what I mean? And that he's the one that's comes up with all these stupid ways to get rid of his wife that he ends up getting caught. But yeah, looking, at El Duce, do I think from what I saw that he'd be capable of murder like that? I don't know. I mean, I know that with these drug addicts could do desperate stuff for a fix. What is a drug addict willing to do for a fix? Are they willing to kill somebody for it? I mean, I don't know. Hopefully they kill themselves first. Maybe it was the CIA. Pool Time with Ron, 70s guy might like Audio Slave. Yes, Audio Slave's awesome. Chris pretty awesome on those albums. He really did finally come to a point with his voice where it was just on fire. But his death, when you look into that death at the Fox Theater or whatever he played, Fox equals 666. But there was some kind of crime scene going on. Like they say that he hung himself from the towel rack of the bathroom. Like what? Like, have you guys been to a hotel? The towel rack, you could pull that off with one hand. I mean, that's not something that's going to hold the weight of a man. And I heard that it looked like a crime scene in there, like there was a struggle. So that is one that I just don't. That's another one. And you look into, there's rumors that him and Chester Bennington were like looking into pedophile organizations, or they were threatening to expose stuff like that, and that's a good way to end up, dead. Adonis, yeah, effing heroin addicts. Oops, did I say that? Yeah, that is a drug you don't want to get into. I've tried it. I've smoked it before, and it was pretty good. I mean, my memories of that, it was like, it's like tunnel vision. It's like your senses, you feel really good. You feel totally at peace and very comfortably numb, right? And it's like I couldn't hear. Everything was just like a low, warm mumble. But if I looked at something, it would be like, and like I could, if you were talking to me, and I could like all of a sudden focus in on just what you were talking about and just be like totally focused on it, and everything else would just disappear. And I could almost see where Kurt or these artists in the beginning, maybe when they were working on music, that they could just feel that music, and that drug could take them there and focus in. And he was doing all kinds of stuff, it sounded like. I mean, another way to write a bunch of songs is do a bunch of meth and just stay up for a couple months. But eventually these drugs destroy you. If he had stayed on that path, his music would have started to suck. They all lose it. They all lose that edge. Like they might start out, doing meth or heroin or these things and getting a bunch of work done, but then they're dead. Like I'm okay with like the turtle mode that my career has taken. Like, sure, maybe if, some people took me in my youth and dressed me, and, I didn't have to work a day job, and, fame could have found me sooner or whatever. But I think I have a pretty good head on my shoulders, and I've dealt with everything, pretty well. And, I'm okay with the way things have happened. I mean, as of right now, I'm living on the beach, and I don't have a regular day job or anything. I have my vampire job on Tuesdays. I have my hangout with you guys. I do studio work. I mean, I'm using all the talents that God gave me. You know what I mean? And that's, as long as that's what's happening, I think I'm fine. I don't even care about money or not having money. None of us are leaving here with shit. You know that. Do I have to remind you guys of that? None of us are leaving here with anything. So, what does it matter? Down is up. It's troubling big pharma pushing the drugs. Yeah. I went on Reddit and I was like, because I was interested, who else is on these? You know what I mean? That's how I found out that I was on the highest fucking dose. The other people are on like 40, and I don't have good medical care. You know what I mean? I'm like a ward of the state, if you will. You know what I mean? So I just go to like the clinic. You know, I have the state insurance and stuff, and they really experiment on the peasants. Let me tell you, they really pushed like the COVID shots for a long time. When I would go in there, I would get angry about it. I'm like, stop, write this down. I'm never taking that. You know, I'd like got annoyed with it. I'm like, how do you guys not know what this is doing to people? You know, and now they finally stopped asking about that. But then you better believe they got everybody on a statin. They've lowered the cholesterol levels they say are healthy. For the longest time, people had way higher cholesterol levels, and honestly, they seemed smarter and more talented. Did you notice, like the old-timey people, how much smarter they were and amazing things they accomplished, where now it doesn't seem that way? Well, your brain needs cholesterol. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you to stop taking your stuff. I don't know your health condition. Maybe you're not as in a physical well-being place that I'm at. So maybe the best thing for you is to be on this. You'll live longer because you're not capable of exercising or these things. But I just remember that doctor. It wasn't even my regular cardiologist. It was like some other guy stepped in that day, and he was a dick. I was like, hey, do I need to be on 5 medications and all this? I'm like, I feel kind of weird lately. If you guys watch like the other diaries out there or whatever, like there was times I was leaving my guitars outside of the room. Like I really, my whole brain wasn't there. And I feel like it's more there now. I think I stopped taking these like, I don't know, 2 months ago, and I feel a lot better. I feel like I'm more with it. And I don't know. I'll let you guys know how it is. But next time I go to a doctor's appointment, I'm going to get some blood work. And if they say my cholesterol levels are good, I know they are some lion-ass mofos, man. As far as like, or just, they're being irresponsible, prescribing all these. They get kickbacks. That's what has to end. The whole doctor's offices getting any kind of monetary kickbacks should be completely illegal. It should be as illegal as a congressperson or anyone who works for the state taking any money. It should be how Big Pharma managed to slip in and give bonuses. I mean, if you guys knew how much money they were getting for administering a COVID shot, you'd be very angry. You know, I think they were getting like, I want to say like $5,000. Or something crazy. Like there was doctors that like pulled a cool mill probably off of like shooting that into people, which is don't even get me going, man. Stand by Poison is an Erect Earth song. That's funny, Greasy Nuts. Adonis, the first comedy I ever heard from Eric, he mentioned some guy that told him he had to work on his Warren DeMartini solos, and Eric did crazy impersonation voice. I'm still laughing. That's why I think I know what you're talking about. No, the first year I was in the band, I was totally just faking it with the Warren stuff. I was a 90s guy, and Stephen threw me into the band, and I was courageous just for taking the gig and going. But I didn't play all the solos that great the first year or two I was in the band. And somebody pointed it out to me, and I remember I was like, I'll get it. And eventually I did. I mean, I'm pretty good now. Thomas Bailey, what's happening? Eric, what's up, brother? What's up, Thomas? Thomas, are you the one that I owe the pics to? I thought it was a Thomas. Anyway, happy to see you, bro. Stand by Poison is a really good song. I the Gospel Singers down south. Yeah, Pete Evick, by the way, coming here. If you guys didn't catch that, Pete Evick he'll be hanging with us next Friday. So it'll be a Rat Poison show. Let everybody know. I'm gonna put it up on YouTube here soon, so you can share the link. Oh, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Thank you, Adonis. Yes, I thought that cartoon's pretty great. Okay. Jerome watched Aqua Teen as a kid. Yeah, those are great cartoons. I do like adult cartoons. John Evans, 1969. Yeah, it was cool going to check out new albums and smell the vinyl. grab a bunch of 45s, sit around the turntable, burning a J and jamming to the latest, greatest with friends. Oh, yeah. Thomas Bailey, take a Cologuard test if you're over 40 and get an antigen test to the finger up the butt. Yeah, I haven't done the finger up the butt yet, but I did do the Cologuard, whatever, where you put the poo water and mail it to him. Hey, I want to mail you my poo water to go investigate. Hey, whatever. They said it was fine. They said I don't have that. The thing I gotta, my dad and his brother both have had prostate cancer in the last couple of years, and they were concerned. They're like, Eric, you need to look out for that, and maybe I do. But those guys have both had the boops too. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's hard to tell. Like, we need a control group here. You need people like me that had the middle fingers up, so you could see what happens to me if I'm getting these problems or not. That's what a control group is. You know what I mean? So. Darius McDonis, great show, Eric. This is just our hangouts. I mean, again, like the Fright Bites, what I put all the work into. Like these shows, I don't really prepare for. It's just I'm just hanging out like I'm at your guys' house. Like if you had me over and I duct tape your mouth shut so you can't talk and only I do all the talking. Thomas Bailey, I care, dude. No, hey, you know who cares about me? Dahlia Dark. Do you know what she sent me? She thought that on the Fright Bite that Count Cracula was a little lackluster. And I said, hey, well, I was a little tired. She sent me out some medication herself. Like, that girl is a giver, let me tell you. This is some vitamin D3 and K2. 10,000 volts or whatever. I probably squirted too much of this in my mouth today. That's probably a fatal amount. So the mall that the Darius McDonis, the Monroeville Mall, is that where they're doing the Return of the Living Dead convention? That's pretty cool. Hail and kill, Darius says. Well, hail and kill, sir. I actually was going to invite Chris Aiken on the show tonight, but he was going to see Billy Morris play a show. So I was going to have Chris come on. He had texted me earlier, and I was like, hey, what are you doing later? You want to come on? And he couldn't do it. Yeah, Dawn of the Dead was shot at the Monroeville Mall in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's so cool. What a great movie. I mean, I love the whole, like, definitely if the shit hits the fan, I'm going to the mall to go get a bunch of stuff. I'm going to go to Wilson's and just get all decked out in leather, and then I'll go to the sporting goods store and get a bunch of weapons. Now, they don't have a sporting goods store at the mall like they used to, but we do have. There's a Big Five that's near the mall. Like that's, if everything goes to shit, I could walk from the mall to the Big Five and go that way. And of course, Walmart has some weapons, but definitely you'd want to go on a weapon spree. And hopefully that doesn't happen. Sleepless Rocker, Matt Thorne, Rough Cut. Hell yeah. Matt's a super talented dude. I like him. He's interesting, and don't fuck with him. Don't think you can fuck with him. You can't. Matt seems like a super cool, chill, but knowledgeable guy, especially in the studio. Yes, he has dedicated his life to music and music theory, and his knowledge of just the recording. I mean, he's a top level guy, for that. I mean, it's his life. I mean, I just show up. I mean, I've known the guy a long time, and I've recorded at his studio since I was probably 22 years old. I mean, I'm 35 now. I almost said that. I'm also dyslexic. I'm 53. But yeah, Skylar B, pure energy. Talking about, are we going back to the Information Society? Looks like it. Thomas Bailey, these drums and the Information Society were awesome, and Spock saying pure energy rules. It is what you're talking about. Very nice, very nice. I love the Human League. They had some great songs. Boom, ding, 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 bing, ding, ding, ding. What's that other one? Yeah, I'm only human. That's another good one. Down is Palo from New York City. I love Japan. Been there many times. Yeah. Yes, Sleepless Rocker. Dahlia wore a Valentine's Day dress. She was,
Pretty princess.
she was a pretty princess that night. Man, you guys are really like in the chat. Pool time. Saw Alice in Chains 3 consecutive times at Austin City Limits. Killer shows. Is that where you're at? Pool time. I moved to Austin briefly. I was there for 1 year. I met a woman that we had like a hot connection, man. I was like, anyways, it was hot enough. I put everything in my Ford Ranger pickup truck and drove out to Austin for a year. This was in like 2003, I think. I'd been in the band like 2 years or 3 years, and met her when we were playing in Austin. And wow, it was like really explosive. And I moved out there, but I don't know, like a year into, I knocked one of her friends out. One of her guy friends took her home all late one night, and I remember I knocked that dude out. And her therapist told her I was gonna whatever. She should get away from me. I'm violent or whatever. And so we broke up, and I came back home. Whatever. I'm not. I've never raised a hand to a female, but a guy. Thomas Bailey. Dirt was my favorite grunge album. Dark as F, though. Yeah, I was just saying that. It was like I was talking to Dahlia about that. You know, she loves some of the stuff, music also. And I said I loved Alice in Chains, but to me, I said the 90s were like depressing. Am I right? I mean, there were certainly the one-hit wonder bands that had happy songs. If you wanna call me baby, just go ahead now. And then there was like who's the guy with all the harmonicas, the fat guy. Once upon a midnight clearing, woke up in my head. You know, there was like that kind of shit. I mean, that was happy, but like as far as all the stuff I listened to, it wasn't. You know, it was just. I don't know. Travis Peebler bass. I remember Billy Corgan on Howard Stern said he had sex with a shapeshifter. He was dead serious. It was an old interview, and then years later, Billy was on Stern again, and Stern asked him about it. Well, you know what that probably was? I mean, I don't want to speak on Billy's behalf, but as a guy who used to party a lot and have whatever relations, steamy relations. No, you know, if you're like on drugs or coming off drugs and you like shadows, you like you could have he probably had a candle going or something, and that could totally make somebody look like a shapeshifter. I mean, shit. I remember thinking my girlfriend at the time was a vampire one night. We had went and saw like the Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I don't know. We went into a little Dracula phase, and she was like pretending she was a vampire. And I remember I got scared for a second. I thought she really was. I was like, oh shit. Yeah. Travis, Billy was serious again. I find it interesting he dated Courtney. I mean, that doesn't speak. I mean, it was a long time ago. Billy Corgan, again, I don't know why I'm speaking for this dude. I doubt he sleeps around with people's wives now. You know what I mean? I don't know what the relationship was, if there was, why he even did that back then. Maybe there was, he has said that there was a competition with Kurt, and I saw in an interview where Billy Corgan said that when Kurt died, he was actually sad about it because that was a guy that he was always competing with to put out good stuff, to be better than Kurt Cobain. So maybe somewhere in the competition, you know, that sort of machismo thing might come into play where he's like, oh, my arch enemy, you know, I'm going to sleep with your girlfriend. You know, maybe it was something like that. I've seen that in the rap industry. Well, you know, God, I mean, there's all kinds of like rocker guys that have done the same thing. But me personally, I you know, when I was younger, I might have made that mistake. And mostly it was the woman's fault in most of the cases that was pursuing me or whatever. But just me going along with it, you know, I regretted those things, you know, like after you do that a couple times, like that's not something I do these days. I'm definitely a bros before hoes guy these days. I will never sleep with a friend of mine's girlfriend or wife or something. I'd feel gross about myself. Like, it doesn't say much about you. But maybe in Billy's defense, it was just a different situation going on there. Jerome's got to go. See, that's when I know it's time for me to go. He's nice chatting. Bye, Jerome. Have a good week. Right. Well, when Jerome goes, that's when I know it's time to wrap it up, folks. God, I put almost 3 hours with you guys tonight. Dahlia, she's a keeper for sure, Thomas Bailey says. Oh, I love Dahlia so much. Let me see. Thomas Bailey, Depeche Mode, best synth rockers out, Pet Shop Boys. Is it okay to say it's a sin? Yeah. Nice. Well, I think we're good, guys. We're all caught up. I'm gonna leave us with Eternal Servant Eric. I used to live in Texas, 91 to 93. Good stuff. Well, you guys, that was a great hang tonight. Thank you so much for coming to these every week. I'll continue to give you guys updates. I'll throw out another Stephen Pearcy tour thing from the old lineup, if you will. But there's a little lineup changes and some personnel changes that you'll be seeing this year, and it's going to be awesome, and you're going to love it. But until then, be cool and be kind to each other.